A matching love seat for $7.49. In the Lazy Boy department, select the Morrison model, available in 5 colors for $12.99, and matching love seat for $12.49. If you need a recliner, there are models to match each group. So breathe some excitement back into your family room with Chesler's Fine Furniture's best sellers. Credit terms and delivery are available. Chesler's Fine Furniture, Route 51 in Uniontown, where customers send their friends.
It's the Afternoon Drive Show on a beautiful Wednesday out there, folks. Back to above normal temperatures, 86 degrees right now outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Bill Madden over there at the controls, keeping us on the air. The Buccos won again today. So, Bill, we get swept by the worst team in the American League, 27-7.
Right.
In a 3-game series. And then our next series is against the best team in the American League.
Right.
And we outscore them. Do I have this right? 17-6?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
3-0 might have been the closest game.
Right. 3-0, a shutout. And and Detroit is not just a lucky team to be in first place. They're 22 games over 500. And we were 22 under 500 when this series started. So, that's classic Pirates, though.
Yeah.
Heaven knows what's going to happen next.
Oh, yeah, well, they've got the Diamondbacks, so who knows?
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Back to the National League.
That's right, back to the National League. My anger's still on interleague play. I'm trying to get over it, but it might just take some time. Joining us right out of the gate tonight, and of course the news just the other day of the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner, who of course was Theo Huxtable in the Cosby Show, and then frankly that was overshadowed very quickly by the death of Ozzy Osbourne, of course, of Black Sabbath. And by younger generations, the reality TV show. Joining us to talk about that, who better than the director of the Bleier Center for Television and Pop Culture at Syracuse University. You hear him all across the fruited plain, TV, national, local, you name it, Dr. Robert Thompson. Dr. Thompson, thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Let's talk first about Malcolm Jamal Warner, of course, known as Theo, on the Cosby Show. And at the time, of course, people claim it saved NBC at one point. It led the ratings for 5 straight years, and I think that career alone for Warner defined who he was, given the amount of exposure that show had. Correct?
Yeah, yes. I mean, and I think we might not remember. Some of us weren't around, but I remember that NBC, there was talk about, Cosby comes out in 84, so cable is really starting to eat away at the network audience. Cable had less than 25% of the country when the 80s started, and that was going up really high. There was talk that NBC might go out of business, that there wouldn't be room for 2 networks when cable came along. And then Cosby comes, and not only 5 years in a row, 5 years in a row number 1, but whatever they put up on after it would become number 2, and whatever was on after that was number 3. Cheers had been on for a season or 2 and was coming in about 43rd place in the ratings. It was on Thursday night. When Cosby comes on, suddenly Cheers becomes 3rd. So, yes, and Malcolm Jamal Warner was really, really good in that. By sheer coincidence, we were up to the Cosby Show in my TV history class the day before we heard this sad news, and I played the pilot episode, which is one of the most exquisitely put together single episodes of a sitcom, and there's a scene where Dad is teaching the kid the value of money using a Monopoly game. And Malcolm Jamal Warner was only 13 when that show started, and it's really, really beautifully done. So, yes, if he'd done nothing else, those years in the Cosby Show would have solidified his legacy. But he did a lot of other stuff. I mean, even just kid shows. He did that CBS Story Break, which was kind of a reboot from a show that Bob Keeshan used to do, Captain Kangaroo, no less. He directed some episodes of Sesame Street, guest starred on that. Magic School Bus, he voiced something in. And then he was in other other series that Malcolm and Eddie on Fox and The Resident went, I don't know, like 2018 to 2023, something like that. Malcolm and Eddie was UPN, sorry.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that. I did not realize he was in that reboot of Captain Kangaroo. Oddly enough, Bill Cosby was on the original Captain Kangaroo.
Yeah. Now, he wasn't the reboot of Captain Kangaroo. It was a reboot of CBS Story Break, which had been hosted by Bob Keeshan, who had played Captain Kangaroo.
Oh, okay.
And who had also played Clarabelle the Clown on Howdy Doody.
Exactly. Yeah, of course, there's a gentleman from Pittsburgh, a friend of mine who since passed away, Julius Olnick, came up with picture pages, which is something that you could get at your grocery store. You pick it up, and then you would watch Bill Cosby talk about it and do it on the Captain Kangaroo show, crazy enough. And that all came out of Pittsburgh.
Interactive television many, many years ago.
Yeah. I guess back in the days when someone would drop ping pong balls on Captain Kangaroo's head, that was big time news,
right?
And made big news. Of course, the other
news. You know, my students remember how they remember Malcolm Jamal Warner, and most of my students, believe it or not, have never seen an episode of the Cosby Show. They were born long after. They were born after 9/11, so they were certainly born after Cosby. But he did a guest starring. Role for maybe 4 episodes of Community. Remember that NBC show?
Sure.
And that's got a cult following among younger people. And it, oddly enough, among my students, you say Theo Huxtable, they don't know what you're talking about. But you say Shirley's ex-husband, Andre from Community, and they totally know what you're talking about.
They know what you're talking about. Well, it's interesting you say that, of course, about them not knowing the Cosby Show. Of course, Bill Cosby's legal problems. I don't even, is it on anywhere now, the Cosby Show? I don't know if it's on certain cable channels or what have you.
Yeah, it is back. You can see it on both cable channels and streaming, but it was taken off for a while. And of course, whenever you teach Cosby, you've got to kind of preface it with, that wasn't just a little legal problems. It was a huge story. And it makes it difficult because Cosby was so important to the history of American television. Long before the Cosby Show, I Spy was a groundbreaking program in the 1960s. And then he did a sitcom called The Bill Cosby Show in 1970, before the Cosby Show by 14 years. Even Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids was a kind of important moment in children's TV. So he was a really important force from back in the 60s on television. And all of that, of course, now gets seen through a completely different lens.
Right. And you think about the money lost by his co-stars and the writers and producers who were not getting those royalties as a result of those reruns not airing.
Right, yeah.
Quite an interesting. Yeah, and I don't think nowadays you could have a character on a kid show called Fat Albert. I probably couldn't do that these days. No,
there were a lot of things in that show that would be seen as problematic today. Although that show very much had its heart in the right place.
Exactly. We're talking with Dr. Robert Thompson from Syracuse University, the television and pop culture guru. We'll give you that title. Ozzy Osbourne, of course. The other day when you and I were scheduling this interview, you said, "Oh, by the way, Doug, I just got word that Ozzy died," literally while we were talking. And it's interesting, the Malcolm Jamal Warner death was immediately overshadowed by the death of Ozzy Osbourne. That happens in the media. Ozzy had two entirely distinctive careers. I think there are people who probably we have an intern in our office right now didn't know who Ozzy was, so she came to be watching stuff after the reality show was off the air. So give you some idea. But it was really in early days of reality TV, was it not?
It was, and it's interesting you say that, because I would almost say there's 3 parts to his career. So he starts out, of course, and he's usually called one of the inventors of heavy metal. That's a hard title to give out, but certainly an important early person in that, with Black Sabbath and the Prince of Darkness and all of that kind of thing. And that goes way back to the late 1960s. So you had somebody who was very much a presence in music, but back then, he was kind of, you'd swear by the people who've come out after his death, all of these established music giants saying how important Ozzy Osbourne was. he was not critically embraced. Black Sabbath was not critically embraced. A lot of radio people didn't like playing that music. A lot of critics were disparaging it. It took a while for heavy metal to kind of get the aura of respectability that I guess it's got, which of course part of its definition was to not be respectable. So anyway, he's got all that, and people heard about him, biting the bad hat off and the Prince of Darkness. You couldn't help it. But I would say before 2002, an awful lot of people, if you ask on the streets to name a single Ozzy Osbourne song, could probably not have done it. It was the people who were heavy metal enthusiasts and all of that kind of thing. And then, almost exactly at the 6-month anniversary of 9/11, incidentally, The Osbournes comes out on MTV. And people who hadn't watched MTV since Flock of Seagulls was in video rotation come flocking back to it. It becomes an enormous hit, and people who had only heard of Ozzy Osbourne now love this show, and he becomes this very lovable sitcom character, dad, like Ozzy from Ozzy and Harriet. And then we thought, okay, this is what's made Ozzy Osbourne forever famous. His legacy was not his work with Black Sabbath or as a solo heavy metal artist. It's going to be this reality show. But then there's a third part of his career. Now, you talk to my 20-year-old students, they haven't heard of the Osbournes, but a lot of them have rediscovered Ozzy Osbourne's music, have rediscovered Black Sabbath, whether it's through its playing in a movie, whether it's through discovering it in whatever is being fed to them in their playlists or whatever. So I think in the end, Ozzy as a musician is going to be the thing that most endures, even though it looked like Ozzy as a reality star was going to be the thing that overcame his fame as a musician.
Yeah, it's sort of fascinating, too, when you think that story, which is actually false. He did not bite the head off a bat.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And after that happened, it got so big, there's the story that Alice Cooper called him and said, Oz, you got to go with this. People think you really did it. Go with it. Obviously, he never did it.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because right now he may as well have, but yeah, that's right. Apparently not what actually happened.
Yeah, but people thought he did, and one false incident almost defined his career for a while. Bite your head off. That's a thing that people say regularly.
Right.
As we talked to Dr. Robert Thompson, again, the deaths of Malcolm Jamal Warner from The Cosby Show, Ozzy Osbourne, who I thought had 2 careers, but now apparently has a third, now that his music is back. But you're absolutely right. Classic rock stations would not play that type of music early on because they just said it was not classic rock. It was a whole nother genre of heavy metal. But you're right, Ozzy wasn't played. Black Sabbath, my gosh, was around in the 60s, for heaven's sakes. And you see some of those classic old videos, you wouldn't even know it's the same person.
Oh, yeah. What, 68, I think that first album came out, didn't it? I may be off by a couple of years.
That's close enough. We'll say it that way. Dr. Thompson, as always, we enjoy our conversations with you. You squeeze this in. I appreciate you doing that for us today. And
it's always so much fun. Thanks.
We'll be back in touch soon. We haven't talked to you in a while. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right. Dr. Robert Thompson, Director of the Bleier Center for Television and Pop Culture, sort of known as the Pop Culture Ambassador. He got that title from the Associated Press. If you simply Google Dr. Robert Thompson, Syracuse, you'll find a lot of good information. Well, we're really going to switch topics here. Coming up after the break, we're going to check in a few moments with the United States Senator Dave McCormick. No doubt you heard about the inaugural Energy and Innovation Summit that he held at Carnegie Mellon University. He had a special guest, you may have heard. The President Donald Trump stopped by. And as did, at one point, Governor Josh Shapiro. So those folks generally don't go to the same events, but they were at this one. Maybe not at the same time, but certainly during that day. So we're going to check in with Senator McCormick coming up. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Concerned about your heart health? At WVU Medicine, we believe your heart deserves world-class care, close to home and always within reach. Our non-invasive cardiology team uses advanced tests like stress tests and cardiac MRI to diagnose and monitor heart conditions without surgery. Call 877-WVU, the number 4HRT, or visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
This is attorney Michael Mays of the Davis & Davis Law Firm. We have been helping injured people just like you recover millions of dollars for over 45 years. If you're hurt or injured, I want to meet you and make sure you get the money that you deserve. Call me at 724-437-2799 for your free consultation. The Davis & Davis Law Firm has been protecting our neighbors in Greene and Fayette counties for over 45 years. Go to davisanddavislaw.com or call 724-437-2799 for your free consultation.
Oak Pizza in downtown Uniontown is your one-stop shop for the most unique pizzas in the region. From the masterminds behind the Fat Angelo's franchise, Oak Pizza is the laboratory where the Fat Angelo's food scientists test their creations and let you be the judge. With traditional favorites like pepperoni and buffalo chicken pizzas to more experimental offerings like the sesame seed-infused Mad Pie or the spicy chicken pickle pizza, Oak has you covered. Order today at oakpizzas.com or by calling 724-439-5805. Your taste buds will thank you.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Well, warmer days are ahead, the kind of days when you'll be enjoying your deck or patio again, especially with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturers and customer guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Lifetime Awnings, 724-554-6067. Call for a no-cost or obligation home consultation or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
Bad hair day? Bad day at the office? Bad day behind the wheel? Hey, stuff happens, even to the best of us. At least your car insurance rate doesn't have to take a hit. Get Erie Rate Lock from Erie Insurance. Gives you a great rate that stays put until you change a car, driver, or your address. Plus, seriously good service. Now that's something to smile about.
Your Erie agent in Uniontown and Ross Traver Township is Sprowell's Insurance Group, 724-437-9812, or go to sprowellsinsurance.com.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
WNBS.
Might well be one of my favorite all-time rock and roll songs, Layla by Derek and the Dominoes. Derek, of course, is a nickname.
That would be God.
Yeah, Eric Clapton, of course, great guitarist.
Also one of the best air guitar tunes.
Oh, yeah. Everybody plays that one to air guitar, especially when you're driving along and have the...
Yeah.
It's one of those great...
Have to steer with your elbows.
On a hot day, with the windows wide open in your car, the air conditioning blasting and playing air guitar to that song. I've seen Clapton a few times. I remember years ago he had an all-blues concert. And they made it very clear. It even said it right on the paper ticket. There were paper tickets then. This is a blues concert, but
So,
people didn't realize that.
Don't expect greatest hits.
Yeah, right. And people were walking out saying, I can't believe that. What was that? He didn't even play Layla, didn't play, cocaine, didn't play.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Wonderful Tonight or any of that.
Right.
Well, but that's what originally inspired him.
Oh, sure. The blues type music, Southern blues.
The Bloomfield Blues. No, it was
He was with the Yardbirds.
Yardbirds, and then
Derek and the Dominoes, and
Cream, of course.
Yeah, Cream. Yeah, he continues to have a great career. One of the great guitarists, great guitarists ever. As I mentioned earlier, coming up in a few moments, as soon as he calls in, U.S. Senator Dave McCormick will be joining us. He is on the Committee on Foreign Relations. Also, he chairs the subcommittee on Near East, South Asia, Central Asia, and counterterrorism. That's not a bad subcommittee for a freshman to chair. And of course, he is also on the Committee on on Energy and Natural Resources, the Committee on Banking, Housing, Urban Development, and then Special Committee on Aging, Joint Economic Committee. I never quite understood, even though I worked for the Senate, didn't quite understand what a Special Committee on Aging meant. Are there non-special committees on aging? I don't know.
Well, maybe one has to do with people and one has to do with cheese.
I suppose.
It's big in Wisconsin.
Years ago, I was dating a woman who she was a human resources specialist, and she used to joke, "Am I promoted from human resource generalist?" She didn't know what that meant, a specialist. But we'll be checking in with him in a few moments. As we were talking off the air a moment ago, and suddenly the name Bill Cullen came up, who of course is.
Well, we talked about the Price is Right.
Right, that's right, and of course Bill Cullen's from Pittsburgh. He went either to Alderdice or Peabody High School. I can't remember. And occasionally he would mention that he was in Pittsburgh when he was hosting Price is Right. Yeah. He occasionally would host Password when Alan Ludden was sick. Yeah. He would fill in for him there, and. $20,000 pyramid? I think you said
3 on a match. I believe he filled in on the Joker's Wild too.
Probably, yeah. And I always remembered where he came from, right here in southwestern Pennsylvania.
But he will always be the original Price is Right.
Right.
Alan Ludden will always be the original Password.
Exactly. Which was always sort of fun. His wife would be on.
Yeah. No, not for she wasn't his wife in the beginning.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Well, they met.
They met?
They met because she was a contestant.
Oh, I did not realize that. A contestant or?
A contestant on, the celebrity.
The celebrity, okay.
Yeah.
I love watching the old game shows. One of my favorites is Match Game, because if you read background stories on these, they would do 5 and 6 episodes in one day, and they would drink and eat between the shows.
Yeah, between show 3 and 4,
and they would come out. You could tell they'd been having some fun, and
the answers got a little racier.
Yeah, they had our next contestant is Kirstie Alley, and I'm like, well, that's the same name as the actress. It was her.
It was her.
She was an actress, and it looked exactly the same hairstyle, the whole thing, and she was an interior designer at that point in her career.
They kind of dipped into the talent pool for actors and actresses for that show because they had a reputation for only taking really good-looking people
exactly.
as the contestants, and it worked out okay. They ran for like 8 or 9 years.
Oh yeah, it was the number 1 daytime rated show for a while. Of
Come home and watch Match Game.
It was hosted by Gene Rayburn, thank you, who did not live in California. He lived in Connecticut the whole time.
He flew in, taped a
bunch of shows, and then headed back. Of course, he was a Broadway.
Well, that's what Alex Trebek. Well, actually, Alex did that, and Pat Sajak did that. Pat lived,
somewhere else.
And he would fly in. They would tape a month's worth of shows in like 4 days.
And then and head back out. But
cashes, check, and go.
So many years ago, when I was in college, I was dating a woman from Los Angeles. I met her at Penn State Barron, and we went out to California for one spring break. And her parents were sort of in with the B crowd of Hollywood, maybe the C crowd. And I remember once going to a.
They didn't know Marilyn Monroe, but they knew,
Mamie Fanny Flagg
or Mamie Van Doren.
Yeah. So at this party we went to, and I was given instruction what you could talk to, who you couldn't talk to, how you should handle yourself. But Bill Cullen wasn't there, but Gene Rayburn was there, and Brett Summers was there, and Charles Nelson Riley was there. It was sort of funny, this crowd we were with. And Charles Nelson Riley was insistent on learning what young people were thinking these days. What are young people thinking? So it was sort of funny that crowd that I would see every day after school on Match Game, suddenly we're sitting inside.
Did Riley have the wig on?
Oh, yeah, he did have the wig on. He used to joke about it. One time he took it off on the air and gave it to a bald contestant. Yeah, he had no problem. Finally, towards the end of his career, he got rid of the wig.
He got a wig that made it look like he was losing his hair.
Yeah, exactly. It's the one like back in the day when he'd get into the locker room and shower up before interviews. Terry Bradshaw used to put on various types of toupees, and he was getting paid to do it. So I
remember those ads that showed Terry Bradshaw.
Right. Yeah.
Those magazine ads, like.
Those old talk shows or the old game shows, good heavens, when you watch the comments that were made, and once in a while, if you can find online some of the ones that just did not make it on the air because they were so snoggered, and of course, the early days of that show, Match Game, it was very generic questions.
Yeah.
There was no humor even in the question, let alone
blank brownie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no double entendres, no. Once in a while, there'd be an obvious dirty answer, and Gene would say to Charles Nelson Riley, "What's your answer, Chuck?" And he'd say, "Well, I'm avoiding the best possible answer, but I'll give you this one instead." But it really did, when you think of someone like Richard
Dawson.
Thank you. Boy, I'm glad you're there. Richard Dawson, of course, was on it for many, many, many years.
Oh, he was still on it when he did Family Feud.
Yeah, when he first started it, because they would say Richard Dawson from Family Feud.
Yeah, and he was not too happy about it.
No, I wouldn't think.
He wanted out of his contract.
Yeah, he of course, you could pick who you wanted to have the big super match, and when they finally had this wheel that you would spin, he got upset that he wasn't going to be always the one picked, and that's when he eventually left the show. But of course, he had that center seat down in the lower row there. Of all things, really changing the topic here coming up in a few moments. And then we are with you, by the way, until 8 p.m. tonight. We're going to be bouncing around on topics. We're going to talk to a couple of co-authors coming up here. Judge Ron Arnone and Matt Kilmeyer is going to join us here in just a couple of moments. Co-author of Navigate Your Path to Success is their book, and we're going to have a long conversation with them during the 6 o'clock hour. Joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, he's been a guest with us before, during the campaign, after the campaign, now that he's serving in the U.S. Senate, Pennsylvania's U.S. Senator Dave McCormick. Senator McCormick, thank you very much for joining us today. How are you?
Hey, Doug. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Good. I know you get a lot of requests for interviews, and I want to thank you. And as a former and current staffer, I always thank the staff too. So we appreciate the hard work they do to put to get you on the air with us. We really appreciate. As you well know, I worked for U.S. Senator Arlen Specter. I was with him for parts of all 5 terms in office, and we had some pretty big events over the years, bringing people in, maybe some cabinet secretaries or the president. I never saw an event even close to the impact that your inaugural Energy and Innovation Summit had. Of course, that was just on July 15th at CMU, Carnegie Mellon University. And I'm not just saying that because you're on the air with us. I have never seen an event of that level, and I've talked to multiple people from both sides of the political aisle that said they never saw anything like it. That was quite an event, was it not?
Well, thank you. Yeah, we were so pleased with it. It's a little bit like the dog that caught the bus. This was an idea my wife had right after the election. She said, why don't we do, an energy summit? And I said, it's not just energy. It's AI. It's the combination, the intersection of the two where Pennsylvania's got some real opportunity. And President Trump called me right after the election, and he asked me, what can I do to help you? And I said, well, two things, sir. One, come to Pennsylvania for a wrestling match, which he did. He came for the national championships in Philadelphia. And
Truth be told, he wasn't the wrestler himself, but yeah.
He was not.
He could hold his own, I have a feeling, yeah.
He could. And I said, second is this summit. You said in your 2017, your first term, that you were worried about serving the people of Pittsburgh, not Paris. And I said, we're going to do something big here. So we got him nailed down, and we invited, 60 CEOs. We discovered there's never been a meeting that had the big-time energy CEOs, the big tech CEOs, and the big investing CEOs, but you need all 3 of them to win the revolution, the innovation in energy and artificial intelligence. We invited the president and his cabinet. We got most of his cabinet: Secretary Besson, Secretary Lutnick, Secretary Burgum, Secretary Wright, Lee Zeldin, and David Sachs. And the thing that we wanted to do was accomplish 3 goals. We wanted to use the gathering, the president coming, the focus, to be a catalyst for investing. In Pennsylvania, there's lots of good things that have been percolating, but we need to get this investment committed. And so, to our great pleasure and surprise, we had $92 billion of commitments in data centers, in energy infrastructure, in transmission, in distribution, in nuclear reactors. I mean, it was just incredible. 20 different companies made specific commitments on the stage in front of the president, many of them public companies. It's a big deal. Second thing is we wanted the opportunity at Carnegie Mellon, which of course is a gem of an institution to tell Pennsylvania's story, why we are the crossroads of the energy revolution and the AI revolutions, why we're uniquely positioned because of our energy capacity, because of our incredible skilled workers, because of our tech talent. And we had 150 members of the media there. So it was on every major newspaper. It was above the fold and across every paper in Pennsylvania. It was on CNBC broadcasts from there all day. So I want every CEO in the world and country to say, wow, the actions in Pennsylvania. And then the third thing, which is I think most compelling to the president, I said, listen, we made a bunch of promises to working families in Pennsylvania to create opportunity. This $92 billion is going to create many tens of thousands of construction jobs, of permanent jobs. And that's what we ran on. That's how I won. That's how President Trump won, is trying to bring opportunity to families across Pennsylvania. So, we feel great about it, very blessed. Lots of people contributed to it. And, now we got to keep up the momentum.
Yeah, it was bipartisan in nature. I was joking earlier as we were teasing the interview that you don't often have at the same event Dave McCormick, Donald Trump, and Josh Shapiro. And to have that opportunity, and obviously Josh Shapiro didn't just show up. You invited him. The president knew he would be there. But that gave you some idea of the depth of this event. Just last week we had on as a guest, and he's been with us a few times, former Allegheny County executive Rich Fitzgerald, who said the exact same thing I just said. He said he'd never seen anything like that come to Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
people were comparing
there,
the last event even close to this level was the G20 summit in Pittsburgh in 2009 to have that level of people in the city. Go ahead. I jumped ahead.
Yeah. It was great. Rich was there, and the governor and I are obviously different parties. We have a number of disagreements, but for this, this is Pennsylvania's sweet spot. This is the key to our future, and you can't have the kind of investment in Pennsylvania if you have a separated face to the business community where you have Republicans and Democrats fighting. This is the one thing we should be able to agree on. And so I invited the governor to be on a panel with me and the president of Amazon, who had just announced this, independent of this summit, 3 weeks earlier had announced $20 billion of investment in Pennsylvania and a couple big data center campuses. And we had it moderated by the president of Penn State. Yeah. And I thought, what could be more Pennsylvania than having a Democratic governor, Republican senator, the president of Penn State, with up until this point the biggest investor in Pennsylvania, talking about opportunities. So the governor was kind enough to come. And the night before, it was a big dinner hosted, 300 people, and the keynote speakers were John Fetterman and I doing a fireside chat. And I said during the campaign, I will work with anybody in Pennsylvania to bring, change and opportunity. Doesn't matter what party they are, and I'm going to live up to that.
Yeah. It's interesting when you think about this level. This is an event. Somebody explained that maybe somebody in their fourth term as a U.S. senator could bring together. You were barely in your fourth or fifth month when you pulled this off. Just amazing when you think about what this will mean for the state of Pennsylvania. And these investments, from a dollar standpoint, don't start with an M. They start with B's, billions of dollars of investment in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. It's exciting. Every person that comes into public office brings their experiences and their strengths and weaknesses. And, for me, one of the things I got criticized on during the campaign was, I have a business career, and I'd been a successful business guy, and I had, done all the things I had done in business. Well, that's an asset now. And, what I promised to do is, listen, I'm going to bring whatever I got. I'm going to give everything I got to Pennsylvania. And this is an area where I thought, we can spend, and we do spend all our time down here on amendments and hearings and votes and stuff like that. But if I can use Pennsylvania, my experiences, to draw together the most important investors in the world. We had three big global investors, the three of the biggest global investors in the world, the major CEOs from Wall Street, the major energy CEOs, the major tech CEOs. If I can use the relationships I have, the president's visit, all the things that are special about Pennsylvania, to convene them here and get those commitments, boy, that's a great contribution to the Commonwealth. So, the thing I'm trying to do is say, hey, where can I really make a dent in the challenges we have here, and how can I deliver on the promises that I made when I was campaigning? And this seemed like a great starting point.
Yeah, my dad was a classic Pittsburgher, steel worker, served in the Korean War on the GI Bill, went to tech school. Yeah, classic Pittsburgh Democrat. He was a Jack Kennedy Democrat. And I remember him once telling me, being successful used to be a good thing. No one should ever apologize for being successful.
Exactly.
And my dad considered himself very successful, raised a family. We had a good life, never wanted for anything. And he was a steel worker for 30 years at U.S. Steel. And he would be very proud to see what's going on now at U.S. Steel with the investment from Nippon and the future of the Mon Valley. So, yeah, I always think of my dad when he said that. He was not a CEO of U.S. Steel.
Yeah.
He was a steel worker. And
well, that's the great thing about this, Doug. The one thing that is, a little bit counterintuitive, people are worried about AI destroying jobs. How's it going to change the economy? There's real risk on that, particularly white collar jobs, I think. But the great irony here is that this is the intersection of energy infrastructure, and AI infrastructure. So this boon, this crossroads that we live at in Pennsylvania, this is a huge fight on the global stage for AI supremacy, for energy supremacy. Pennsylvania is at the forefront of that fight. And the ironic thing is this is going to create enormous jobs for skilled workers. So electricians and steam fitters and pipe fitters and welders and all sorts of the trades are going to be huge beneficiaries of this enormous inbound investment. I was with a bunch of trade union guys, I don't know, a month or so ago having lunch, and I was saying, hey, tell me about your apprenticeship programs. How many people do you have? Are you investing? He goes, well, they said, we don't like to, create slots in the apprenticeship programs without a clear path to the work they're going to do. And I said, triple them. Quadruple them 10 times, right? It's coming.
Right.
It's coming, and we got to be ready. This is going to be a tsunami. Some of it's going to take months, some of it's going to take years, but it is coming, and it's going to be great for working families across Pennsylvania. Going to create those great opportunities, just like your dad in those days of the steel workers. You make a good living, you have a nice house, you afford vacation, have a great opportunity for your kids. That path is going to be available for more and more Pennsylvanians based on what's happening.
Yeah. U.S. Senator Dave McCormick joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. Senator, you're a busy guy. We appreciate you giving us all this time today and enjoy our conversations with you. Look forward to talking to you again sometime soon.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You too. Senator Dave McCormick joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. We're going to take a break. CBS News coming up shortly. Stick around.
Here's a business looking for a customer.
Hi there.
Here's a customer looking for a business.
Hi.
And that's where the Better Business Bureau comes in. The BBB connects people with businesses they can trust. That's why 2023 IABBB research found 80% of people choose BBB accredited businesses over non-accredited ones with the same A+ letter rating. Live happily, better after. Always look for the sign of a better business because it's looking out for you. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
It's a day that ends in Y, so it's a day that you might decide you don't want to cook. That means it's the perfect day to order Fat Angelo's. Offering delicious pizzas, salads, hoagies, strombolis and calzones, wings, and more. And with 12 locations across the area ready to serve you, today is the day to visit FatAngelosPizza.com, where you can quickly and conveniently find your local shop and place your order online. Or get the local phone number and give them a call. Order up!
And that's a wrap for the 5 o'clock hour of the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. Coming up during the 6 o'clock hour, we're going to talk to a couple of co-authors about a book. Stick around for that. Talked about success and leadership. Coming up shortly.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Brian Koberger was sentenced today to life in prison for murdering 4 University of Idaho students 3 years ago. He pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty. At the hearing, relatives and friends of the victims struggled to contain their grief in addressing him.
I'm shaking because I want to reach out to you, but I hope you feel my energy, okay?
go to hell.
Randy Davis's stepdaughter, Zano, was killed.
I know people believe in other stuff. You're evil. There's no place for you in heaven. You took our children. You are going to suffer, man.
Koberger remained silent during the hearing. He has never said why he killed the students. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard made a surprise appearance in the White House briefing room today to talk about a report that she says disputes the findings of Russian interference in the 2016 election. CBS's Ed O'Keefe.
What Gabbard is alleging she now has and has released is evidence that there was great disagreement in the intelligence community about those findings, and that ultimately the Obama administration tried to cook up something that has been allowed to fester for all these years. She, last week, referred various Obama administration officials to the Justice Department for potential prosecution. But let's remember, the Justice Department spent more than 3 years investigating this and whether there was any political interference, and found none.
A judge said today she cannot release grand jury transcripts in the Jeffrey Epstein, Florida case. Legal analyst Laurie Levinson.
Ordinarily, grand jury transcripts are secret. And the fact that there's a lot of public attention regarding a case is not a grounds under the statute for disclosure.
There is another records request in New York, and the House Oversight Committee has subpoenaed Ghislaine Maxwell to sit for a deposition. She's Epstein's former girlfriend. CBS's Jan Crawford on another court win for the administration in its efforts to downsize the federal government.
The Supreme Court has cleared the way for President Trump to remove members of the Consumer Product Safety Commission while their lawsuit challenging the firings plays out. If this legal battle sounds familiar, that's because it is. In a different case just 2 months ago, the justices made their views pretty clear on the president's removal powers, although apparently not clear enough for some of the lower court judges who have continued to block the removals at other independent agencies.
The State Department has opened an investigation into Harvard's eligibility as a sponsor of a government visa program for international students, researchers, and professors. On Wall Street, stocks finished higher due to the latest trade deals. The Dow was up 507 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Oak Pizza in downtown Uniontown is your one-stop shop for the most unique pizzas in the region. From the masterminds behind the Fat Angelo's franchise, Oak Pizza is the laboratory where the Fat Angelo's food scientists test their creations and let you be the judge. With traditional favorites like pepperoni and buffalo chicken pizzas to more experimental offerings like the sesame seed-infused Mad Pie or the spicy chicken pickle pizza, Oak has you covered. Order today at oakpizzas.com or by calling 724-439-5805. Your taste buds will thank you.
Wow, your dog looks beautiful. We went to Mutt's on Market Street, the new dog grooming salon in downtown Brownsville. Samantha, the owner, has over 10 years dog grooming experience. They work with any dog, any breed, any size.
Didn't it cost a fortune?
No, the prices are great. They offer a full line of grooming and other services.
With warm weather on the way, now's the time to schedule an appointment for your furry friend's spring grooming. Mutt's on Market Street, downtown Brownsville, next to Hope Park. For more information, visit Mutt's on Market Street on Facebook. Mutt's on Market Street will be open during the Market Street repairs.
A couple of former bandmates are confirming they're going the same way.
Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks, and Lindsey Buckingham confirmed they're reissuing their only full-length album as a duo, 1973's Buckingham Nicks, which had never been available on streaming platforms until now. The opening track is online now. On September 19th, Rhino Records will release a remastered version of the entire album, which paved the way for the then 20-somethings to join Fleetwood Mac. Each foreshadowed the news in Instagram posts and on a mysterious billboard off Sunset Boulevard. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
9 of the 10 men accused of breaking out of a New Orleans jail in May have pleaded not guilty to escape charges. The 10th inmate is still at large. I'm Cammie McCormick, CBS News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Point Hill Living Care Home of Point Marion. Offering customized care for all residents, Point Hill Living Care Home is committed to compassionate care and personalized support. And now the news.
From the Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios at your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS, Davis & Davis, your personal injury attorney since 1976. Good afternoon. It's a 6:05. It is mostly sunny and 85. The weather watch is coming up, but first, the local district and statewide news. The body found on the Monongahela River this afternoon. WPXI TV reporting the body was found near the 10th Street Bridge around 3:45. When or how the body ended up in the river was not made immediately clear, and there's been no further information released. A teen is dead following a crash in Washington County. The crash taking place yesterday morning on Route 40 in North Bethlehem Township when two vehicles collided and both caught fire. One of the drivers, identified as 18-year-old Chase Allen, was killed in the crash. The other driver was flown to the hospital with unknown injuries. After months of testing the water at Blue Hole Creek in Somerset County for heavy metals, the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection sent a notice of violation to Highland Sporting Clay, a clay shooting range owned by Pirates owner Bob Nutting, saying that they believe lead and other heavy metal concentrations in the water are because of lead shots at the range. The Department of Conservation and Natural Resources put up signs warning potential swimmers, fishers, and hikers about the risk. According to the notice of violation, Highland Sporting Clay has 60 days to submit a plan. The Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency reveals the cause of the statewide 911 outage earlier this month. PEMA says the system went down July the 11th due to a defect in an operating system not related to a cyber attack. The outage lasted several hours before crews were able to get the system back online. The agency recommends that you save your county's non-emergency contact number in the event of a future outage. And the price of Hershey's chocolate is about to go up. Michael Kastner reports.
The Hershey Company confirmed Tuesday that it plans to raise its prices due to the increasing cost of cocoa and other ingredients. Cocoa is harvested mostly in West Africa, where cocoa crops have been hit hard by climate change and disease, causing prices to skyrocket. The price change is expected to take effect in the near future. I'm Michael Kastner.
WNBS time is 6:08. Sports and weather coming up.
Point Hill Living Care Home is an all-new personal care home conveniently located in Point Marion and is now accepting new residents. Point Hill Living is committed to providing comfort and support while allowing residents to maintain their independence and enhance their quality of life. With a dedicated staff and experienced advanced care team, Point Hill Living offers fully customized care plans for all residents, while also ensuring a sense of community and engagement, making Point Hill feel like home. Multiple care levels are available, from basic plans to fully customized and enhanced plans, including options for medical monitoring and full-time dedicated assistance. If you are looking for a high-quality care home close to home, look no further than Point Hill Living Care Home at 300 Union Street in Point Marion. Call them today at 724-725-5533 to learn more, or visit them at pointhillliving.com. Point Hill Living Care Home, where our residents are family.
WNBS time is 6:09 in sports. Pirates wrapped up a three-game set with the Tigers this afternoon.
Wednesday afternoon, the Pirates defeated the Detroit Tigers 6-1 and sweep the three-game series as the Tigers, who came to town with the best record in baseball, handed three straight losses by the Bucks. The Pirates' fourth series sweep of the year. It was Bailey Falter on the mound, and he was outstanding for Pittsburgh, one of his best starts of his career. 7 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, didn't walk a man. Career high tying 8 strikeouts. He didn't allow a base runner. First 11 men he faced before giving up a single in the 4th inning with 2 outs. The run came in the 7th inning on a base hit by Matt Vierling. Meanwhile, in the bottom of the 1st inning, facing Troy Melton of the Tigers, making his major league debut with 1 out, Andrew McCutchen homered for the 9th time this season to give the Pirates a 1-0 lead. His 328th of his major league career, 244 of those as a Bucko. In the 2nd inning, with the bases loaded, 2 outs, Spencer Horwitz hit his first career grand slam, 3rd home run of the season, and that was the big backbreaker as the Pirates led 5-0. O'Neal Cruz added a sacrifice fly in the third. The Pirates coast to a 6-1 win and a sweep of the 3-game series. Greg Brown on your home for Pirates baseball.
And the Pirates will be off tomorrow night as they get ready to welcome the Arizona Diamondbacks to PNC Park. We'll have the game for you starting at 6:15 with the pregame show, 6:40 for the first pitch Friday night on WMBS. And the Steelers report to St. Vincent College in Latrobe today as the training camp gets underway. You can attend practices for free, but tickets are required. The team will hold a night practice at Latrobe Memorial Stadium August the 1st. First open practice is tomorrow afternoon. WMBS time is 6:11, and the Weather Watch, clear overnight with a low of 69. Sunshine tomorrow, high 88. Clouds and a chance of showers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The high Friday and Saturday, 86, and up to 84 on Sunday. Monday will have partly cloudy conditions with a high of 85, and clouds and showers possible Tuesday and Wednesday. The high Tuesday 86, 82 on Wednesday, and it's 85, and it's partly cloudy. Your local station, WMBS. More of the Afternoon Drive Show with Doug Saltzman coming up.
The local, district, and statewide news was brought to you by Point Hill Living Care Home. Conveniently located in Point Marion, call them today at 724-725-5533 to see if their services are right for you and your loved one.
Have you been told there is nothing that can be done for your neuropathy? Tri-State Neuropathy Centers is pleased to tell you that's not true. As one of the largest and most successful neuropathy treatment practices in the country, Tri-State Neuropathy Centers has grown to 9 regional centers and helped over 14,000 patients, like Kim from Morgantown. Kim was experiencing such severe numbness, burning, and stabbing pain in her feet that she constantly felt distracted in life. Then Kim discovered Tri-State Neuropathy Centers and their effective FDA-approved treatment program that has no drugs, is non-invasive, and painless. Kim no longer has the pain that was limiting her daily activities, and she's now enjoying life again. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers helped Kim, along with thousands of others. Let them help you next. Call 304-777-2068. That's 304-777-2068. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy.
Go to Ford of Uniontown and trade me in.
John Clinton with Dominic Carbone from your 7-time President Award-winning Ford of Uniontown.
Hey John, Ford is running some great incentives right now. Listen to this, 2025 F-150, XLT, Crew Cab, how about 0% for 48 months? And you can do a rate and rebate combination of, get this, up to $9,000 off MSRP and these great rates. 3.9 for 60, 4.9 for 72, and only 5.9 for 84 months. That's a deal.
Dang, Dom, that's a deal. Okay, check this out. Let's talk about SUVs. 2025 Ford Escape Active. Let's take up to $5,000 off MSRP. Or Ford's offering 0% financing for 48 months.
Now, John, you know we're going to talk about our pre-owned. We have 60 and ready to roll. Most are certified with factory warranty, and we have fresh trades arriving daily.
Just a reminder, we offer mobile service and online maintenance appointments and are very popular pickup and delivery service. Your car knows, shouldn't you? That's Ford of Uniontown on the hill across from Applebee's, or check us out at FordofUniontown.com.
This is Eric Cushy from Curtis Pharmacy. People love being in their home more than being in some type of facility. Our independent living program is a tool to help you keep a senior in their home longer. Part of our onboarding process is we coordinate with all of your physicians, get new prescriptions, we handle all the refills, and we make sure there's no problem with one medication versus another from different doctors. Go to our website at curtispharmacy.com, call any one of our 4 area locations, Claysville, Washington, Connellsville, or Carmichaels.
Sometimes we need support, whether for a loved one or for ourselves. Let Caring Mission Home Care be your solution. We provide assistance with daily activities. Caring Mission employs trained and insured aides, and they offer certified dementia practitioners for in-home Alzheimer's care. Caring Mission Home Care provides free care assessments, either in your home, independent living center, or while you're still at the hospital or nursing facility. Caring Mission Home Care also creates customized care plans for each individual. Additionally, they provide private transportation services accompanied by a skilled concierge. Caring Mission partners with several organizations to assist with payment, including Veterans Affairs, United Mine Workers, the Area Agency on Aging, Long-Term Care Insurance, community health choices, and also offer affordable private pay rates. For more information, give us a call at 724-439-7656 or visit our website at thecaringmission.com. Caring Mission Home Care, a proud supporter of the 2025 Fayette County Fair.
Yeah, they're the people I trust. It's the place I go. Home Warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
This is home improvement season. Home Warehouse in Uniontown is your one-stop shop for all your exterior building needs. It's the place that makes a house a happy home. Looking to add a deck? Home Warehouse carries composite decking materials and maintenance-free railing in a variety of styles. Plus, roofing shingles, metal and commercial rubber roofing, windows and doors, shutters, siding, soffit and fascia, railing, columns, 5 and 6-inch seamless gutters, plus flooring and more. Whatever building products you need, you'll be pleased with the selection and hometown service. So stop in and see Sandy and Donnie at Home Warehouse, Connellsville Street in Uniontown. Shop Monday through Friday 8 to 4:30, Saturday 8 to noon, closed Sunday and holidays.
Home Warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
Are you considering a project design and don't know where to start? K2 Engineering offers a wide range of professional civil, architectural, and municipal services to meet your individual project needs. Our versatility combined with our personalized approach is what sets us apart as a full-service engineering and consultation firm. To learn more about our services, please visit us on the web at www.k2engineering.net. K2 Engineering, where customer service is our priority.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS in Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Bill Madden over there at the controls producing the show tonight. Hey, we want to thank again our guest in the previous hour, U.S. Senator Dave McCormick, for joining us talking about the recent Energy and Innovation Summit at CMU. Really, an absolutely amazing event. And as I mentioned to him during the interview, I didn't just say that because he was doing the interview. I worked for the U.S. Senate for many, many years. We had big events, nothing like that one. That's usually an event that somebody can pull off in their third or fourth term in the U.S. Senate, not their fourth or fifth month in the U.S. Senate. So congratulations to Dave McCormick and his staff. I always give a shout out to the staff as well. Joining us right now on the Afternoon Drive Show on the Newsmakers line, two gentlemen who one I've met recently, the other one I've known for many, many years, authors of a new book. But beyond that, they head up a great program called LEAD, L-E-A-D, designed to build strong communities, one student and family at a time. First off, we want to welcome Judge Ron Arnone and Brad Kilmeyer from LEAD. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. How you doing?
Doing real well. Thank you, Doug, for having us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Doug.
You're welcome, Brad. Let's talk about, first off, your organization. Then we want to talk about, we just spoke the other day at a book signing, oddly enough, hosted by Senator Dave McCormick. Let's talk about your organization, though, and how you came together. I was taking a look at your website, and it talks about how the two of you hooked up at a high school. Now, and this was a few years back. You'd sound a lot younger if you said you met up in high school just a few years back. But we'll say you met at a high school a few years back to talk about this. But Leadership Development is the name of the organization, LEAD for short. How did this come about? And beyond just how you met at a high school one day, how did this start? And why don't we start with you, Ron?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Doug, and thank you so much for having us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Greatly appreciate it. And for your listeners, Doug, you've been so involved in the Commonwealth, and I know you have a great radio show here, but you have been so instrumental behind the scenes for, Art Inspector and now, obviously Devlin Robinson, and I really appreciate calling you my friend. So thanks for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So relevant to, LEAD and how it started, Brad and I did meet in Jefferson Hills about 7 or so years ago. And, we were both speaking at a particular event. And Brad kind of walked up to me and he said, hey, what are your thoughts? Like, what do you do with, kids that have problems, and how do you handle things? And we had a broader conversation, and it came to be that Brad, I saw a nice young man with a lot of upside, and we started to collaborate and join forces, and ultimately we created the program that exists today, which we're super proud of, and now 7 years in the making, and we've helped a lot of young people and people in general with our programs that we do.
Yeah. It's such a small world, southwestern Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh region. 7 years ago, when you were both speaking at Thomas Jefferson High School, two of my daughters would have been at that assembly. And I'm always sort of amazed how that sort of thing happens. I have four daughters, all four. First off, they went to St. Elizabeth School, and then they went to high school at TJ. And I'm always amazed how that happens in Pittsburgh. No place, I guess every town claims that, but I'm always amazed how that happens right here in southwestern PA, small world stuff. Brad Kilmeyer, let me ask you a question. Your background and taking a look at the information on the website, you've done this sort of speaking, leadership speaking and development for quite some time, correct?
Yeah, so prior to meeting Ron, I was speaking around the country at different conferences and student events, and I always had a big passion to make an impact in the local area, and it's one of the reasons that I loved when Judge and I met, and Judge had the vision to how to make an impact in our local schools, and it's been a wonderful experience.
Yeah, it's very unique, and when you see some of these presentations you've made, getting high school kids to even pay attention at an assembly is tough. To get them be cheering in the crowd, Ron, that takes some extra work, doesn't it?
It really does, and I will say this: Brad and I have produced a program which we've delivered to over 65 schools across Allegheny and Washington County, and just go ahead and try to keep the attention of 10th and 11th graders in a high school for 70 minutes. And that's exactly what we do. And, at the end, the applause and the appreciation of these young people understanding what it is that we're trying to do for them is really a phenomenal thing to see.
Yeah, it's when you talk about the issues and LEAD, as you told me and you talked about the other day at the book signing, is a 3-tier program, right? Dealing with substance abuse, social media, and leadership skills. But let's look at those in reverse. And Brad, let's start with you talking about the leadership skills. How is that broken down, and how do you address those issues?
Sure. Well, young people have tremendous potential, and it's helping them just get guided onto the right path. So some of the topics that we cover are decision-making, making responsible choices. Young people can be a little impulsive, so getting them the skill set to take a moment and think before they act would be an important lesson that we teach. And accountability, knowing that you're responsible for your decisions and your choices, and making sure that you do what you say you're going to do.
The idea of this, and when you talk about leadership skills, and we've all taken those leadership classes we did in high school, you did in college, et cetera, and you address them and you teach kids how to be leaders. But at the same time, when someone's learning, Ron, how to be a leader at that young age, they also have to learn at that point also to be a follower, to be a subordinate, to be a good subordinate, because you're a subordinate before you're a leader, I suppose, correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly true. And, of course, we talk about the idea of following the roles and, making sure that you're understanding that you're in this institution to learn. But the idea of being a leader, not a follower, isn't necessarily one that, constitutes what you're doing with elders or teachers or professors. It is your peers. And stating that, being a leader, not a follower, means that you lead your group in the right direction, not the wrong direction. And that if you're in a situation where, people are trying to tell you to do something you shouldn't be doing, to step up and say, hey, I think that this is not where I should be, or I don't think that this is what we should be doing. And that is really being a leader, not a follower. And that's, that exemplifies what Brad and I try to teach these young people.
Yeah. I mean, you teach young people, but you also, let's stick to these three topics, the three-tier program. Second of which is substance abuse, drugs, alcohol, and one abuse that people might not think about because the myth is out there that it's perfectly safe is vaping. And vaping has become such an issue that people can't go. I've had to reprimand people in a former job. I said, you can't put that vape in your mouth in the building. I don't care if it's not a cigarette. You don't do it. And I don't think most people think of that as substance abuse, Brad, but it certainly is vaping beyond, of course, drugs and alcohol.
Sure. When Judge and I go into schools, one of the first things that we're asked to cover is vaping, and there's a lot of misinformation out there for young people, and it's important that they get the correct facts to make good choices. And when it comes to other substances as well, there's so many distractions, and what we try to do is get young people and students to have goals in their life that are more exciting than the distractions. So when things come up, they already have their choice made that this isn't for them because they have other things going on in their life.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure how this came about, that this is suddenly a very safe thing to do. There's chemicals in those vapes, and sadly you see litter of those little plastic cartridges laying around thinking, good heavens, it's being used and just thrown away and not disposed of properly. So vaping obviously is an issue. Smoking, people have known smoking has been bad forever and a day. It's still happening, of course. It's still legal. However, illicit drugs and alcohol, on the other hand, Ron, are not. And unfortunately, they're glorified so often in media and movies, etc. If not glorified, almost like you can do it for a while and you'll be okay. How do you overcome that?
Yeah, so with regard to, we talk about that stuff, and in fact, we do a really good, well-produced video that talks about the glorification of these substances. And just to touch real quick on the vapes, the problem, too, is that many of the vapes, most of them, come from China. And we always tell the young people, like, we don't even know some of the carcinogens and chemicals and substances that are in these vapes, not to mention THC. But, yeah, to get back to, these substances and the abuses, they are extraordinarily dangerous, very addictive, and we talk about the real facts and the idea that the harm that they do to your health is extreme, and that people are not telling you the truth, and that's what Brad and I are here to do, to tell you the truth.
This idea that it's just water vapor or something like that, and is so far off. I think it's going to be the next great lawsuit, as it was against, of course, the tobacco companies. The problem with vaping and the ongoing issue with it. So you have, again, those are the first two tiers: leadership skills, and as you've outlined on your website, accountability, goal setting, decision making. And then, as we just talked about, the problems of substance abuse, vaping, drugs, and alcohol. We also want to talk about social media, but obviously that's going to take some extra time. And folks, we have these two good gentlemen with us right up until the break before the 7 o'clock news tonight. And we have a break coming up here in less than 2 minutes for the CBS News at the bottom of the hour, 1 minute, followed by some commercials. But I do want to focus on social media, which is going to take more time than we have before this break. But let's talk about that. It follows under so many different cyberbullying and internet safety. Perhaps nothing in history, and I don't think that's an exaggeration, has so many good and so many bad sides all in one package. Social media, internet. It's almost impossible to get your hands around how good the internet is, how good social media is, and at the same time, how bad it is. So in our last minute here before we take the break, Brad, why don't you give us sort of an idea of how do you capture that, and how do you explain the good and the bad in the same item?
Well, we do just that. We start with the positive ways it can be used, and then we discuss the downsides that you see as well. And unfortunately, as a young person, there they have this situation where they're exposed to their phones all the time. It's always there. And, it's important that they don't post something that they shouldn't, or they do it spontaneously or out of anger. And so we talk to them about the idea of really asking yourself, do you want to put what you're about to post on a billboard? And thinking of it in that terms as to it's really for everybody to see. And one thing that's wonderful about Judge's background, and he talks about it in our presentation, is just how what you post and how you can be held accountable for what you share online. That's a big eye-opener for a lot of students in the audience.
Yeah, we are talking with Ron Arnone, Brad Kilmeyer, authors of Navigate Your Path to Success. We're going to talk about that after the break.
CBS News Brief. A judge today sentenced Brian Koberger to life in prison for killing 4 University of Idaho students almost 3 years ago. Relatives and friends of the students gave emotional and angry impact statements.
You're a delusional, pathetic, hypochondriac loser.
Koberger remains silent. He's never said why he committed murder. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard appeared in the White House briefing room today to undermine the conclusion of a report years ago that Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
We're here today because the American people deserve the truth, they deserve accountability, and they deserve justice.
She claimed then President Obama and others fabricated evidence. Aid groups are warning there's not much time left for starving Palestinians in Gaza. This surgeon at Nasser Hospital.
We have children begging in the halls of the hospital, not just for food, but they are begging for fresh water.
CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Wow, your dog looks beautiful. We went to Mutt's on Market Street, the new dog grooming salon in downtown Brownsville. Samantha, the owner, has over 10 years dog grooming experience. They work with any dog, any breed, any size.
Didn't it cost a fortune?
No, the prices are great. They offer a full line of grooming and other services.
With warm weather on the way, now's the time to schedule an appointment for your furry friend's spring grooming. Mutt's on Market Street, downtown Brownsville, next to Hope Park. For more information, visit Mutt's on Market Street on Facebook. Mutt's on Market Street will be open during the Market Street repairs.
Main Street Theater Company presents Anything Goes, live on stage at the State Theater Center for the Arts. Anything Goes is delightful, delicious, de-lovely. The age-old tale of boy meets girl with music, dance, laughs, and some of Cole Porter's greatest hits. I Get a Kick Out of You, Friendship, It's De-Lovely, and Anything Goes. August 1st and 2nd at 7 p.m., August 3rd at 2. Tickets are just $20. Buy online at statetheater.info or call the box office at 724-439-1360. Attention, active and retired coal miners. Have you been screened for black lung? Here at the Black Lung Clinic at Centerville Clinics, we offer yearly screenings, diagnosis, education, and treatment options to help you live a fuller, healthier life. We provide care regardless of your ability to pay. Call Centerville Clinics today at 724-632-6801. Do it today.
Hey love, I'm Tiffany from Tiffany Smith Fine Art Studios, serving up confidence boosts in Periopolis in our brand new luxury studio in downtown Pittsburgh. I'm not just here to take your picture, I'm here to help you remember who you are. Whether it's been a wild few years or you're just feeling a little blah, this is your permission slip to feel powerful again. You'll laugh, maybe cry, and leave feeling like that girl. Book your experience at TiffanySmithFineArtStudios.com because you deserve to be seen.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a pig. It's also a chance to win big with WMBS and the Pennsylvania Lottery. Now till the end of July, just be the sixth caller to 724-438-4593 whenever you hear. And you'll win $15 $2 When Pigs Fly scratch-off tickets with 10 top prizes of $20,000. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Warm weather is finally here, and with it, the opportunity to upgrade your lawn or yard with a new fence from All Around Fence Company. Conveniently located at 7896 National Pike, Uniontown, All Around Fence has been installing quality residential, commercial, and farm fencing for more than 45 years. Offering residential fencing including chain link, decorative aluminum, steel, and more, All Around Fence has a fence for you. All Around Fence is also your one-stop shop for Nutrina products and carries livestock, equine, and pet supplies too. So whether you need to upgrade an existing fence, add a new gate, or are looking to install an all-new fence, All Around Fence has the answers for you. Visit them Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. or give them a call at 724-439-0331. To learn more, visit allaroundfence.com.
Pizza King's in Connellsville is your go-to lunch and dinner spot with a full menu of mouth-watering pizzas and so much more. Using a deck oven helps our pizzas stay extra crisp, so if you haven't tried a slice lately, what are you waiting for? From our 50-slice King Carnivore to veggie pizzas and even pickle pizzas, Pizza King has the pie to match your taste. Pizza King's, 1046 Morrell Avenue in Connellsville. Call 724-626-8343 or visit pizzakingswithaz.com.
WNBS.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Drive Show on a beautiful Wednesday out there. 85 degrees right now outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. I'm Doug Saltzman and Bill Madden producing the show tonight. Joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. I'm very honored to have both of them. Ron Arnone, President of Leadership Development, and his partner, Brad Kilmeyer, who's Vice President of that organization, Leadership Development, also authors of the new book, Navigate Your Path to Success. Before we went to that break, we were talking about social media and the issues related to it, cyberbullying, internet safety. I want to we'll continue on this one with you, Ron, about the problems of teasing and rumors and gossiping, cyberbullying, and sadly, the worst offense at the time, the sextortion issue. That happens. You would think that would only be addressed towards adults, but it certainly is not these days. All these issues are real issues for young people, especially high school kids. Correct, Ron?
Yeah, it really is. And just a preface to your listeners, Brad is my business partner. He's not my partner.
Okay. I didn't mean to imply the other one. Sorry about that.
We're both very
Got to be careful wording these days. That's right. Yeah, business partner is what I meant.
Yeah, but no, it is. It's the bullying and the cyber issues, sexting, some of which I see even in my courtroom, unfortunately. And these young people don't realize the situation that they might be putting themselves in relevant to criminality. Even, when you think about a young man that may be, or a young woman that may be 17, and they're communicating with a young person that's 14 or 15, and how that could end up landing them on Megan's list, which is a really bad place to be and can affect you adversely for much of your life with jobs, potential employment, and otherwise. But yeah, I mean, young people have to be a lot more vigilant about the things that they choose to do with photos, passing photos around and online, and photos of them in a bad situation, or half dressed or whatever. They've got to really think long and hard about the idea that they should not do that, because it could get them into a bad situation. And so, yeah, there's a lot of different things. Brad and I always say it's a double-edged sword. Social media, and if you use it the right way, it can be great. Use it the wrong way, it can be a situation that can get you into a lot of trouble.
And back when we were young, somebody gossiped about somebody. Words have meaning, but they don't last as long as something on the internet. And the idea of putting on it's forever. The internet's forever. You can delete it. You can delete the trash. You can throw your computer into the ocean. It's still there. And I think sometimes kids forget that this is going to go forever, and it's going to follow you. Not just hurtful to the person you're aiming it at, but it's going to be hurtful to you years later when you realize I probably shouldn't have said that about that person. That's for sure. It's fascinating when you had your book signing the other day, and I already had a copy of the book. I picked it up at Giant Eagle, and of course the introduction is by our mutual friend Dick Jewell, talking about the importance of learning a path to success. So that book that you've co-authored, Ron, and your business partner, I better keep stressing that since I said the wrong thing a moment ago. Not that there's anything wrong with it, right? The old Seinfeld line. Navigate Your Path to Success, Proven Principles for Life is the name of the book. And it's not just your thoughts, but it's the thoughts of more than 30 leaders in this region talking about how to get a path to success. So, Ron, why don't we start with you? Tell us about the book, how it came about.
Well, yeah, I mean, the idea that the book came about, and I always wanted to write a book. It was one of my bucket list items. But then when Brad and I created these programs and had broader conversations, I thought, boy, this is a great opportunity to get a really good core group of people together. And many of the 30 people are very close, good, dear friends of mine for many years, leaders in our community in southwestern Pennsylvania. And let's reduce this information to writing. It's a very pragmatic approach to leadership, to really somebody, I say, the chapters sit on their own. You could read a chapter one day and go back and, read a chapter in the following week. It doesn't write like a drama novel. It writes like information that people can use on a daily basis, whether it be in business or in school or in life. And that's what the book's all about. It's about the idea of choosing the right decision-making, being accountable, and, giving ideas to principles in life that can make you successful. And that really is the crux of what the book is and does.
Yeah. When you go about writing a book, and over the years, I've worked, people have heard me say this 1,000 times on the show, I worked for Arlen Specter for all those years. People say, you ought to write a book about Arlen Specter. And not an easy thing to do. It's people say, the toughest part is the writing. And then they have to sell it. But at the same time, though, this idea of asking multiple people their opinions on something, and I've read the book, and not everybody had the same ideas or the same suggestions, but that's the idea in something like this. If everybody thought the same way, then you don't have to ask one person. But Brad, I guess the idea was to get multiple ideas to bring together, and it's an interesting writing process, and that's why I wanted to ask you that one. But about the writing process for this book to bring all these ideas together.
Well, it was very intensive. It took us over 2 years to put the entire project together, from the idea to conducting the interviews to Ron and myself having not only many phone calls but meetings and conversations about down to individual chapters and lines of the book. But it's very rewarding, and the best part is to now have it out. And when you get text messages or emails to the website and people talk about what it meant to them, we had someone showed us a highlighted section talking about how they used it in their business for their employees. We've had people say they have sections of it that they've shared with their kids, and to reinforce different lessons that they've taught them. And that's what's wonderful about the writing process. Is intense, but it's the best part is when you get to share it with people.
Yeah, when you go about, and I've read a lot about writing books. I'm still determined, like Ron said a moment ago, bucket list stuff. You want to have a book, and And I don't think anybody would want to hear about my life, but perhaps some of the experiences of people I've met over the years. But that's the idea. When you come up with this, and you have to sort of summarize what you want to write about even before you put a pen to paper. And it would be awfully tough to explain any book. And we always talk about how would you explain this book, Ron, in an elevator ride? You know, you've got, 30 seconds, and somebody says, hey, Ron, I heard you have a new book out. It's not always easy to explain something like that in such a short period of time. But they say if it's a good book, you can do that because then you're selling it and hopefully you can inspire folks. How would you do that? Is it even possible in a book like that to explain it during an elevator ride?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. First of all, when you think about the book and you think about, my experiences and, Brad having already written a book and, some of the things that he had to bring to the table, but also too, just some of the people like Steve Glass and, Jim McQuaid, the president of Dollar Bank, and Steve Schott, the president of, Calgon Carbon. These are extremely successful people. And I would say in that brief time, these are stories and information that, over a course of people's lifetimes that they've been able to reduce to a book of, a few hundred pages of information that you can use in your everyday life. And who wouldn't want to be able to read a book like that? And, I often say, too, that as not only the chapters sit on their own, but the information in the book is something that, even I go back, and I wrote the book, and I go back and read things, and I'm like, oh, my goodness, how I can use that today, how I can use that going forward in my life. That's the great part about the book, because it gives the ability to challenge yourself and to be the best version of yourself. And I think that is really what the book's all about.
Before I forget this, and I mentioned earlier, your website is ourleadfamily.com. Ourleadfamily.com, just like it sounds. But if folks, Brad, if they want to pick up a copy of this book, what's the best way to go about that?
Sure. Our website would be number one. That is www.ourleadfamily.com. They can also purchase a copy on Amazon as well.
Yeah. We always tell people, go to their website, folks. There's financial reasons for that. So make sure you go to their website. It's the best way to order the...
Well, we have something, Doug, that's very proud, is we actually we printed the book in Pittsburgh. So if you go to our website, you get a copy that's printed right here in town.
Well, that's great. And when you think about that, and I as I mentioned, looking at the folks who you interviewed for the book, I guess maybe I do know what I'm doing around here. I'm not always sure of that, but several of the people you interviewed have been guests on my show. So that made me feel good. I'm like, hey, maybe I know what I'm doing after all. But it's a real variety of people. When you talk to someone like Bill Saris, of course, Saris Candies, everybody's been there. Everybody loves the place. Steve Blass, the stories he tells with both meaning and humor. Steve spoke at an event the other day. I don't think he spoke for more than 5 minutes, and he had some great topics that made you think, but he also had people laughing. There were no aisles; they weren't rolling in the aisles, but he just has a way of doing that. Sort of an excellent choice. And were you surprised by any of the folks that you interviewed that caught you by surprise about what they had to say? And Ron, we'll let you answer that one.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course. There were, I don't want to say surprises, but because the people we interviewed, the 30 people were so accomplished and so I'm just like in reverence of their being, because they're just such great people, because I personally know them so well. But I mean, like somebody like Steve Glass, who you were mentioning, Steve has a line where he talks about it's $39 at Home Depot, and it's in your bathroom, your mirror that you look into. You can look in that mirror and talk about the reflection and that voice coming back to you, and that the idea that that person's not going to lie to you. So in other words, when you look in the mirror, you have to tell the truth, and you have to be honest with yourself about everything that you're doing in life, and that is really, if you think about it, is good of an assessment of where you're at, what you're doing, and being honest with yourself about what it is that you want to accomplish in your life, and also being honest about the idea that what is your value, and are you adding that value to society?
Yeah, Steve Blass is such a perfect example. I hear he at the top of the World Series champion, 1971, the last pitcher to pitch a complete Game 7 in a World Series, considered one of the great pitchers in baseball. Within a couple of years, he couldn't hit the strike zone. And when they name a disease after you, the Steve Blass disease, and the fact that he continued on, fought it as hard as he could, and now became a pirate for life, which happens to be the name of his book, of course. But the fact that he was able to continue with his career in a different direction, most folks would thought, I can't imagine what was going through his head to think, what happened? 2 years ago, I won the World Series. I can't throw a strike. But I guess getting through tough times and redirecting your life, Brad, is part of leadership, correct?
Absolutely. And in fact, a lot of times it's through adversity that we find out the most about ourselves and what we can overcome. And we learn a lot from those moments. And, it's important in the book we talk about reflecting on when those challenges come up and how to work through them. And what's nice is through the different interviews, you can learn lessons that you don't have to learn the hard way. There's advice in there that you can proactively get the good advice to be able to make good choices. And it is important that you overcome challenges when you're faced with them.
Yeah, and it's all levels, not just Major League Baseball players. I people who listen to the show know I love to watch documentaries. And I was watching one about Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who came from phenomenal wealth, incredibly privileged, but really had a better sense of what was going on when suddenly he was struck down with what was thought to be a childhood disease, polio, infantile paralysis, and the people around him and historians since said he became a better leader as a result of what he had to deal with, and he became patient as a result. There's a great Roosevelt quote that says, if you spend 2 years trying to wiggle your big toe, you learn patience and you learn to overcome. And he got a sense of what perhaps the rest of the world was going through, despite the fact that he grew up with wealth and in a phenomenal home outside of New York City. But I guess that can come at all levels, and it can also address maybe a kid in high school who has a promising football career then blows out his knee in Game 2, Ron. So I guess or Brad, I guess it can be looked at as all levels, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I would say that's the very epitome of the book and what we talk about, and that challenges in your life. Sometimes those can be the darkest moments, but through the darkness comes the light, and the idea that we've all had those crosses to bear, and we've all been in challenging situations. But if you rise to the occasion and you combat whatever it is that you're dealing with in a way that you can come through in a positivity in your life, that is an accomplishment that's set aside and something to be very proud of. And it doesn't matter if you're a high school student, a college student, or a business professional. It's something that to behold, to see somebody rise above such challenges in their life and come out of it, ascertaining the successes that they do, whatever they might be. And so, we speak about a lot. We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect, but it's how we rebound, come back from those mistakes that make us who we are and build that character within us.
And we have about a minute left. I'll ask you this question, Ron. Who is this book for? What age level? What career level? Who would be best to read this book?
That's a great question, Doug, and I would say that honestly, this book is for all people, young and old, rich and poor, high school, college, business, entrepreneurs. This book is for everyone because in each chapter you can find something to really attach yourself to. And I'm telling you, I mean, I don't say this because we wrote the book. I still will open a book and read a chapter or look at a page and think, wow, this is something that I can think about today that can help me tomorrow.
Yeah. We've been talking with Ron Arnone and Brad Kilmeyer. The organization is Leadership Development LLC. The website, leadfamily.com. And the book is Navigate Your Path to Success, Proven Principles for Life. Ron Arnone, Brad Kilmeyer, thanks so much. We appreciate your taking time to join us today to talk about this organization. You talked about being in Allegheny County and Washington County. Obviously, we'd love to have you down here in Fayette County as well and have an opportunity to speak to students and other organizations down here. Gentlemen, thanks so much for your time.
Doug, can I briefly give a quick credit to, we have several partners
go right
make
ahead.
Our LEAD program possible. Our title partner is Dollar Bank. Our major partners include the Pittsburgh Building Trades, Calgon Carbon, NSS Life, Rourke Toyota, Sarah's Candies, Mascaro, St. Clair Health, the Pittsburgh Penguins, Cool Springs, Robert Morris University, Highmark, and Kasherba.
No problem at all.
Yeah, thanks for doing that, Brad. I appreciate it. And Doug, thank you so much. I love your show, and you do such a great job, and you are really somebody that I almost wish I would have had you in the book because you're somebody that is so accomplished, and I'm so happy to call you my friend.
Well, that's very nice of you to say, Joe. Thank you very much. Maybe for book number 2, we'll talk then about that one. Ron and Brad, thanks so much. You have a good evening.
Thank you, Doug.
All right, thank you. We're going to wrap it up, folks. Stick around. It's the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS, Uniontown.
Do you have a job around the house that you just aren't sure how to tackle? Then it's time to call Fulham's Full Service, your Best in Fayette Gold Medal winner for professional maintenance and handyman. Fully licensed and insured, owner Cody Fulham does it all, from home renovations and repairs to landscaping and auto detailing. Needless to say, he's ready to help you. Call Fulham's today at 724-466-4194 and follow them on Facebook to learn more about their projects and the work they can do for you.
Chris Parker Jr., what's going on at Autoland?
The Hyundai Getaway sales event is back, and so is 0% financing. Get away with a fantastic deal on a great new Hyundai. Here at Autoland, we're lowering prices on the 25s before the 2026 Hyundais arrive, and offering above Blue Book value on all trades. All this, plus incredible incentives and financing offers from Hyundai.
I'm listening.
We still have a great selection of those 25 all-wheel drive SUVs with the 0%. The full-size luxury third row 2025 Palisade and the redesigned third row 2025 Santa Fe, both with an amazing 0% financing for 60 months. Or choose up to $3,500 off HMS bonus cash on select Santa Fe. Check out the fuel-efficient 2025 Hyundai Elantra SE with 2.99% financing or lease for $229 per month.
Plus Hyundai owner assurance, America's best warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection with every new Hyundai purchased, and 3-year, 36,000-mile free complimentary maintenance. Autoland Hyundai, downtown Uniontown, or visit their website at AutolandHyundai.com.
You always pay less to drive the best at Autoland Hyundai.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
When it's sweltering outside, you'll be cool inside with central air conditioning from Bryant, the people that know cool. And it's easy to have a central air conditioning system installed in your home. Simply call on your Bryant dealer, Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, located near the Laurel Mall on Route 119, north of Uniontown. The phone number is 439-2323. Let Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning rescue you from the sticky, humid summer weather. Remember that number for Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, 439-2323.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323.
And that's a wrap for hour number 2 on the Afternoon Drive Show on a Wednesday. I'm Doug. That's Bill. Coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to talk television and rock and roll. Stick around for that. News is next.
4 life sentences for Brian Kohberger.
I will call you what you are: sociopath, psychopath, murderer.
Trump reportedly in Epstein files.
They made Trump aware of these findings.
2016 Russia election interference claims revived.
We can show the truth, reveal the truth.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Jennifer Kuiper. An emotional day in an Idaho courtroom as Brian Kohberger is sent to prison for the rest of his life for killing 4 University of Idaho students in 2022. CBS's Matt Piper.
I sentenced the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
The hearing lasted about 3 hours with more than a dozen family impact statements read aloud. Randy Davis is the stepfather of Xana Kernodle.
I'm shaking because I want to reach out to you, but I hope you feel my energy, okay? Go to hell.
Roommate Dylan Mortensen faced Kohberger for the first time since she saw him the night of the killings.
All the memories that we were supposed to make, all of it is gone. And all the people who loved them are just left to carry that weight forever.
Matt Piper, CBS News.
The White House denies a Wall Street Journal report regarding President Trump's name in the Jeffrey Epstein files. CBS's Aaron Navarro.
The Wall Street Journal reporting that Trump was told by his Justice Department in a briefing in May that his name were in, quote, a truckload of files related to Jeffrey Epstein. They also note that, quote, many other high-profile figures were also named.
A House panel votes to subpoena files in the Epstein investigation as a judge says she won't unseal grand jury transcripts in a Florida case against him. This as National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard follows up the President Trump's claims of treason by releasing what she says is evidence that former President Obama manufactured evidence that Russia helped President Trump win the 2016 election.
Russia has took action to try to sow discord in the election, but showed no preference for or against any singular candidate.
CBS's Ed O'Keefe.
She last week referred various Obama administration officials to the Justice Department for potential prosecution. But let's remember, the Justice Department spent more than 3 years investigating this and whether there was any political interference and found none.
Former President Obama calls Trump's accusations of treason ridiculous and a distraction. More than 100 charity and human rights groups say that Israel's blockade and ongoing military offensive are pushing Palestinians in the Gaza Strip toward starvation. The situation is so dire that this shop owner, through an interpreter, says food is scarce even if people have the money.
99% of Gazans go to bed hungry. We haven't eaten flour for 3 days. We're not alive. We're dead.
Now this.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Released from criminal custody in Tennessee, and a second judge makes it harder for federal immigration authorities to immediately take him into custody once he is released. The Trump administration has been ordered to provide Abrego Garcia 72 hours notice if it plans to initiate proceedings to remove him to a country that is not his place of origin. The Supreme Court clears the way for President Trump to remove 3 members of the Consumer Product Safety Commission. It's similar to other cases. CBS's Jan Crawford.
Back in May, the same 6-3 Supreme Court majority blocked a lower court order preventing Trump from removing members of the National Labor Relations Board and the Merit System Protections Board. The justices said then that both agencies exercise considerable executive power. But in that order, the court was careful to note its reasoning did not apply to members of the Federal Reserve Board.
The cost of previously occupied homes slid in June. You're listening to the CBS World News Roundup.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Big year. I'm starting middle school.
Welcome to the jungle, Missy.
Best part? My parents promised me a new laptop.
Perfect for homework, essays, and drudgery.
So we went to Staples. They had all the latest tech, and laptops were up to 40% off.
Woo! Another back-to-school budget saved by Staples Easy Button.
Mom high-fived the cashier. So embarrassing.
Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app. In 23 select models only.
Famous Footwear has the latest styles from all my favorite brands like Nike, Adidas, Crocs, Converse, New Balance, Birkenstock, and more. And with over 830 stores, Famous Footwear is always nearby with fit experts to make sure my new shoes fit my feet and mom's budget. She says the prices are like really good, so you don't have to overspend to make it famous. Right now, buy one pair of shoes, get one half off at your local Famous Footwear store. Some exclusions apply.
Texas legislature starts a series of hearings about the floods in the Hill Country that caused as many as 134 deaths. Texas Emergency Management Chief Nim Kidd says the National Weather Service was unsure of where the worst of the rains might hit and how much.
It was such a large footprint. In order to have any resource close to need, we had to have them scattered across that large area of the state. It was not about the intensity that we saw in the forecast because we didn't see it.
A black man shown on video being punched by Florida police officers after a traffic stop is speaking out.
22-year-old William McNeil Jr. talks about the February 19th arrest and beating caught on cell phone video.
I was really just scared.
Lawyers for McNeil provided CBS News with an arrest report saying he was pulled over for not having his headlights on, and video shows him being dragged from the car and punched multiple times. But Jacksonville Sheriff says the video doesn't capture all of the circumstances surrounding the incident. Allison Keys, CBS News.
Time of the roundup, 7 minutes past the hour.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owed the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The world's top court paves the way for climate reparations. CBS's Tracy Wolf.
In a landmark ruling, the United Nations International Court of Justice issued a unanimous advisory opinion from The Hague today, stating that countries can be held legally responsible for their greenhouse gas emissions and must compensate states impacted by climate change. While the opinion is not legally binding and the U.S. does not acknowledge the jurisdiction of the court, the judges closed a loophole in their opinion, saying that the decision applies to any UN member that abides by international law. Environmental legal experts lauded the decision and hope to see it used in pending climate litigation cases around the world. Tracy Wolf, CBS News.
Dr. Salvador Plasencia faces up to 40 years in prison after pleading guilty to illegally supplying ketamine to Matthew Perry before the overdose death of the Friends star. Another defendant's trial is next month. That's the World News Roundup Late Edition for Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. I'm Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
Main Street, Uniontown. Maloney's Restaurant, serving authentic Italian cuisine in Uniontown since 1950. Call 724-437-2061 for weekly specials and to place your order. Overnight low is 70. Mostly sunny on Thursday, high of 91. Partly cloudy Thursday night, 74 the low. Showers and storms on Friday, 89. Scattered showers and storms Saturday and Sunday, 88 Saturday, 85 on Sunday. This Weather Watch has been brought to you by Maloney's Restaurant. Let Maloney's cater your special occasion. Choose from their banquet menu and ask about their popular banquet room to make your next event special. Call 724-437-2061. This is your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS, and online at WMBS590.com.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
Pizza King's in Connellsville is your go-to lunch and dinner spot with a full menu of mouth-watering pizzas and so much more. Using a deck oven helps our pizzas stay extra crisp, so if you haven't tried a slice lately, what are you waiting for? From our 50-slice King Carnivore to veggie pizzas and even pickle pizzas, Pizza King has the pie to match your taste. Pizza King's, 1046 Morrell Avenue in Connellsville. Call 724-626-8343 or visit pizzakingswithaz.com.
Warm weather is here, and with it, the incredible farmers markets of Fayette County, providing the freshest selection of seasonal produce and a whole lot more, including handcrafted soaps, candles, breads, sweet treats, jewelry, canned goods, and wine. Literally something for everyone. Put your health, wellness, and happiness first by visiting an area farmers market this week. Farmers markets include, but are not limited to, the Mountain Area Farmers Market, held on an assortment of Fridays throughout the summer from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Farmington Volunteer Fire Department. The Uniontown Farmers Market, held weekly on Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to noon in Bailey Park. The Connellsville Farmers Market, held weekly on Thursday evenings from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Eastside Fire Station on Arch Street, and so much more. So, for more details, visit the WMBS Facebook page each Wednesday for a complete farmers market roundup. Make wellness a priority. Eat healthy and shop local. And make it a habit to visit the farmers market nearest you.
Tune in to WMBS Saturday mornings at 8:20 for Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, certified financial planner, investment advisory representative, syndicated columnist, and author, as he addresses such income issues as planning for retirement, future healthcare expenses, avoiding financial pitfalls, and much more. That's Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, Saturday mornings at 8:20 right here on WMBS, where Gary Boatman welcomes your calls at 724-243-3075. That's 724-243-3075.
Welcome back to Hour 3, the late shift of the afternoon drive show in your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. Bill Madden over there hosting the show this week. Usually we have Nick over there, but we decided to go with somebody smarter and better looking this week. Is that right, Bill? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I guess, yes. I mean... I'm sure that Nick's not listening, so sure.
That's right. We can say anything we want because Nick's not listening. Unless he heard that we're going to talk about TV and rock and roll, then he'll be tuning in. I'm always so impressed. Nick is a young guy. By his voice, you'd think he's probably 20 years older until you see him now that we have Facebook. But Nick is now almost 30. He's been doing this for almost 15 years. He literally was on the air at age 15.
Yeah.
Not running papers around like an intern, but literally on the air.
Yeah.
In
other words, he has never had money in his life.
Yeah. Or he also didn't have college debt either. I think he realized he had a job.
There's that, yeah.
Didn't have to finish that up. And his understanding of pop culture really amazes me. He'll know references I'll bring up from way before his time. But who better to know about pop culture than our next guest? And we're very pleased to welcome to the Afternoon Drive show on the WMBS Newsmakers line, TV writer for Trib Live and the Tribune Review newspaper, Rob Owen. Rob, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And when you think about Ozzy Osbourne and that two careers, maybe a third that came back, people knew him, of course, with Black Sabbath back to the late 60s, and then a whole new band of fans came along when he and his family really had one of the first reality shows involving a family situation. I guess there were others, the talent shows they have on TV. That's what my mom would have called them. Or perhaps some of the others, the great, what is it called? The Great Race. I forget what it is, the great. But theirs was really one of the first ones, wasn't it?
Yeah, it predated Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which started in 2007. The show you're talking about, the Osbournes, ran from 2002 to 2005.
Yeah, and you would think it's always funny when you hear something like that was only on for that many years. Considering, everybody once in a while, if you see somebody named Sharon in the airport, you have to scream, Sharon! People, that gets stuck in your brain, stuff like that, even though it wasn't on all that long. But it was really pretty unvarnished, wasn't it? This wasn't just a slap, let's just show the good parts of the Osborne family. It was just about everything, wasn't it?
It was, but I mean, I would say, all of these reality shows are produced. So I suspect what the producers were going for there was the crazier, the more outrageous, the better. So how much it was real versus produced, I think that is an open question.
I suppose. And throwing things back and forth across the back fence at their neighbors who would then throw it back to them. I have a feeling it was a producer on the other side of the fence throwing the stuff back.
Could have been.
Yeah, but it made for good TV. Of course, Ozzy Osbourne passed away just now a day ago, not long after his final show. In terms of history of TV, there have been others. Hulk Hogan did it, and of course, Gene Simmons did it, but certainly not to the fanfare that come from being a hard rocker like Ozzy and then showing his family. Most people don't think a hard rocker has a family.
Right. I mean, I think it was unique in a bunch of ways. Most importantly, it was probably, as you noted, one of the first shows to sort of go this route. I mean, we had the An American Family in the 70s on PBS, but I think that was probably a little more grounded and real. This was on MTV. It was very much a pop culture thing. And it was like the first instance of sort of this celebrity rehab, not the show Celebrity Rehab. That's a different.
That's a different
show.
one.
But I'm talking about what I mean is sort of rehabilitating someone's image and recasting it for a new generation. This was very much let's take him and make him the dad on Father Knows Best. It's just that he's a little off center compared to the classic sitcom dad.
Yeah. I don't think anybody would mix up the two. Robert Young, do I have it right? Father Knows Best?
Correct. They would not, but I mean, that was kind of what they were going for.
Right.
I mean, the format was very much, this is going to be, a reality version of a family sitcom.
Yeah. And it really, we had a guest on earlier, said it really brought back his music career, frankly. So there are now a generation of people who did not know Black Sabbath, but now know Black Sabbath because it did seem to rejuvenate that part of his career that people wanted to see him again. Whether he was able to sing, I don't know if he was ever able to sing, but he was able to sing later in life. Of course, his final show just a couple of weeks ago, amazingly. But one of those ones, if I was kidding earlier, that you hear about people living their 8th of 9 lives. I think he was in life 15 of 9 lives.
I think that's fair.
The way he lived his life, the fact that he lasted so long, he was going to, even if he died, he was going to live a few more years, is something that somebody might say. And in many cases in the media like this, someone dies, it gets a lot of attention, but man, something can take it off the headline very quickly. And that was the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner of The Cosby Show. On that show at a very young age, started at age 13, but really made himself a career very quickly with that show, didn't he?
He did, and he excelled well beyond that. I mean, he had a lot of starring roles after that. He led a sci-fi series called Jeremiah that most people don't even remember, but then more recently, he was a series regular on The Resident for several seasons. So yeah, he took a great springboard from The Cosby Show and was able to parlay it into an adult career, because really when he started on that show, he was certainly playing a teenager and probably not that far removed from being a teenager himself. So and not all kid actors do that, or young actors are able to sustain their career in the way he was able to do. So that is certainly worth noting.
Well, and he seemed to have favor through Bill Cosby. Not always the case with everybody on that show. The daughter sort of fell out of favor with Bill Cosby at one point. The daughter, the actress who played his daughter on that show, on The Cosby Show. In fact, I heard an interview that Cosby did about him. I don't recall another interview from Cosby since the scandal, besides related to the scandal, but he said he had talked to Felicia Rashad about it. And I was surprised he did that interview. Was that the first interview I've heard him do that didn't have anything to do with his trials?
I don't know. I have not paid that close attention to that particular storyline in pop culture, but I did see quotes that he provided through a PR person on Malcolm Jamal Warner's passing.
Yeah. The Cosby Show really was. It's people say it saved NBC at that point, which was struggling so much, and of course the early days of cable kicking in. And the impact of Cosby Show, and that was really not too many actors have a show that changes television like I Spy did for Bill Cosby, the first African American to have a lead role in a show, and not just an actor in the show, but the lead role in the show. But his legal problems have taken Cosby off the air for many years and cost a lot of people a lot of royalty money, didn't it?
I mean, I don't know exactly how the royalties were structured on that particular show. I would assume that yes, it probably did cost some of the cast members royalty monies, but I don't know specifically how that one worked. But yeah, the show has definitely been absent for a while because of Cosby's legal issues, and you know, I'm not sure that's going to change anytime real soon, but it might. Who knows?
Yeah, it's interesting to watch that, and obviously there've been other TV stars who've had serious legal problems. The actor from that '70s show, of course, he's in jail likely for the rest of his life on rape charges, but that show continues to air. But in the case of that one, that's an ensemble cast, so I guess that's very different than the lead actor in the show, like the Cosby Show, literally named for the man, as to why that would be off the air for a while. I guess that's the difference, correct?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. Another thing that hit the news just recently is the CBS's decision to cancel the late night show with Stephen Colbert. And again, not just asking for a new host to come in. And you and I have talked on this show several times over the years about how late night shows have changed so much and the ratings have just plummeted.
Yes.
But in this case, they're not just changing the host, they're canceling the show, aren't they?
They are altogether killing the franchise. And then the question becomes, what will CBS put there? And I speculated today in the TV Q&A column that posted, I wondered if they might simulcast The Daily Show, because both The Daily Show and The Late Show are properties owned by Paramount Global. And, you know, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. It's just a theory, but one could imagine that they might do that. Then there's the question of who's the host. Jon Stewart's contract for The Daily Show is up in December, and will they re-up him? Do they want to re-up him? Would he say yes to it, knowing that he's kind of replacing his friend Colbert? Who knows? And they may just fill it with reruns of a sitcom.
Yeah,
we don't know yet.
Seinfeld will be airing at night again, and
no, that's not owned by CBS. It won't be Seinfeld.
It won't be Seinfeld. I just assumed it played everywhere. You know, it seems to be on every 10 minutes, and that's fine with me. I'm a big Seinfeld fan. But yeah, this decision though, and talking about late night TV, Johnny Carson was famous for saying that he always reminded himself that he was a political. What did he call himself? A political pundit, not a political analyst. And that he would poke fun at politicians on both sides of the aisle. But he rarely, once in a while, he'd have a guest on, they'd talk politics. But he certainly didn't give the strong opinions that late night talk shows hosts are now giving. Does it surprise you that they would have guests on? And it doesn't matter which side of the aisle, but I don't know if I'd stay up till midnight to see the Secretary of the Interior on a talk show. The direction they made, has that hurt their? Is that part of the reasons that their ratings have plummeted, or is it more in line that people can simply see the musical guests they wanted to see the next day on the internet?
I mean, I think it's much more a question of, you know, being able to watch the clips the next day online. You know, Colbert is number one, even though he's getting canceled, and his is the most erudite. His is the only one that would have the Secretary of Interior on the show. I don't think Kimmel or Fallon would do that at all. That does not seem like a move they would make. Maybe The Daily Show would, I suppose, but no, I think it's all about the change in viewing habits and the fact that late night is competing not only with sleep now, but with time-shifted viewing, watching a show from another time period instead of watching what's live on TV. It's competing with streaming. It's competing with people having their faces in their cell phones, their smartphones all the time. There's just too many things vying for people's attention, and the format has suffered for it.
Yeah, we are talking with Rob Owen, TV writer for Trib Live and Tribune Review and newspaper, of course. Check it out, triblive.com. And, of course, you're on X as well at, if memory serves, Rob Owen TV. Do I have that right?
Correct.
Rob Owen
X,
TV.
Blue Sky, Threads, all of them, all Rob Owen TV. Instagram, too.
There we go. Rob Owen, OWEN, Rob Owen TV.
Yep.
As we're talking, three topics here, Ozzy, and the deaths of Ozzy Osbourne, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and the death not of Stephen Colbert, but of his show, which he never held back his criticism, even of his own network that he's on. Are you surprised they're letting him go another 9 months? Almost like, what's he gonna say next? And do you think he'll make it through those 9 months, or at some point is CBS gonna say that's enough? You're a little too blunt.
I don't think that they will object to the bluntness, and I certainly don't think he would quit, because he knows that if he quits, there goes the livelihood of the 200 people who work for him. So I don't see Colbert walking away. And I think if CBS doesn't want to look like they capitulated to the current administration in order to get the acquisition by Skydance completed, which has yet to happen, then they need to leave him on. Also, I suspect the ratings will go up for the next 9 months. So, maybe they won't be losing $40 million a year. Maybe it'll only be $30 million.
So that is a legitimate figure. They are on this show losing $40 million a year. That is
that was the reporting of Puck News, which I think is a trustworthy source. Part of the problem with the Colbert Show is that it is not that their clips don't go viral in the same way that clips from Fallon and Kimmel and The Daily Show do. And so they aren't as monetizable in that way. In addition, you don't see Colbert on 1,000 different shows on CBS the way you see Fallon on 1,000 different shows on NBC. So there are some differences there.
Yeah. And of course, they canceled the late show as well from CBS. Yeah. That was now a few years ago.
They did, but they replaced that with After Midnight, which was they were able to make it a lower price point, and they were going to renew that until the host of that quit, which makes you wonder, okay, if they were going to renew After Midnight, then why are they canceling Colbert now? I don't know. I think people are right to ask questions.
Right, and of course, then there was another show that eliminated their band as a cost savings.
Yes, that was Seth Meyers' show.
Right.
It is odd, too, that with Colbert, they didn't say, hey, can you make some cuts? And they just were like, you're done.
Right. Yeah, it's even for a company of that size, $40 million a year is a big loss. Tell us, this wasn't one of the topics we were going to discuss, and I hope you don't mind me bringing it up, but the selling of Paramount and CBS to Skydance, is that what it is? Explain what that company is. I did not know about that company until I heard about the proposed sale.
So Skydance is a media company that has, I think, largely been making movies. If you will sometimes see their banner at the beginning of a film, as even if the film is distributed by Paramount, you might see, before the merger, you might see the Skydance banner. I think Skydance had a hand in the Mission Impossible films, for instance, and so they are buying Paramount. David Ellison is the son of Larry Ellison, who is the founder of Oracle, and I think David is using some of Larry's money in order to get the deal done. Supposedly, they are going to be able to do some technological things to soup up Paramount Plus and or other aspects of the Paramount company and make it more efficient. And keep it alive, because I think if they weren't going to be bought by Skydance, I fear that company would not survive in the current economic media environment.
Yeah, there always being a connection to Pittsburgh, of course. CBS and Westinghouse were one in the same at one point.
Right.
In fact, I remember being at an event where they put the CBS I next to the Westinghouse logo on that building in downtown Pittsburgh many years ago. Now, Westinghouse exists, but in a whole different world these days.
Right.
Entirely nuclear power. But again, one of those crazy Pittsburgh connections that it was based in Pittsburgh, oddly enough, at one point. It didn't seem to last very long, though, to have the headquarters here. It's always seemed to be in New York. And, of course, CBS has given up all of its radio stations to Odyssey, who his struggles are well known. But so many changes at times. I don't quite understand. What was it? Viacom and CBS merged at one point, then they demerged, then remerged. I can't. I worked for a company that merged. The amount of money that goes into just changing the name of a company.
All that letterhead.
Yeah, it's signage and you name it. But yeah, that's. I guess Viacom is out now. It's hard to keep track. You need a program. I suppose.
Well, Viacom and CBS are both part of Paramount. They just don't use the Viacom name anymore. It's Paramount Global is the overall company.
Yeah. Well, we'll wrap up our conversation here with Rob Owen. When we started talking several years ago about streaming and how many TV shows there are, you told me at one point that there were 600 different TV shows airing. And I mentioned how impressed I was that you were doing one of your Q&As. And, of course, you can pick the questions you answer. That's entirely up to you. And you were confident enough in the one to say, somebody called and said, what happened to this show? And you said, I never heard of it until you asked me about it, but here's the answer to your question. There's just no way that someone could keep track of these things. Are there too many shows? I asked you at the time, and you said yes. Do you still believe that's the case?
Well, there are certainly fewer now. I mean, we're no longer in a peak TV 600 show environment. I have not seen a recent current number. I think it's probably in the 500s. I'm not sure it's gone below 500 yet, but yeah, there probably are still too many shows. But you'll also notice that a lot of the companies are pulling back. Like Disney used to have, 3 Marvel shows a year, 3 Star Wars shows each year on Disney Plus, and now you're lucky if you get one each of live action. And I think that will continue to be the case because it just wasn't profitable. It didn't make sense financially. So I think the pullback on content will probably continue in some places to a degree, even as Netflix continues to shower us with tons of new programming every week.
Yeah, I'm always amazed, and I'm no expert on these things, far from it. You've forgotten more than I'll ever know. But the mergers and demergers of media companies, I always find sort of fascinating, or the decisions that are made in a media company. The amount of money CNN spent on CNN Plus, which bit the dust in what, 6 weeks?
Yeah, I'm not even sure it was that much, but yeah, something very close to that. I was thinking it was 1 month, but I'm not sure.
And we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars was put into that effort, and they canceled it.
Yep.
That quick. I just don't understand how something like that happens and how a board of directors allows that to happen. Let's spend, I don't know, we'll say $100 million on CNN Plus and cancel it after 1 month.
Well, that was because of another merger. That was when Warner Brothers Discovery bought, the Turner and HBO assets from AT&T, I think it was. So yeah, that was the new company coming in and saying we're no longer investing in this. And then, of course, now they're turning around and starting a new CNN online venture. So.
Well, we'll talk to you in a month and see if it's still around. Yeah, we'll get
exactly.
We'll figure that one out. Rob Owen from Trib Live, Tribune Review newspaper. Again, check him out across the social media world at Rob Owen TV and of course triblive.com. Rob, thank you very much. We appreciate your thoughts on all these topics. You suggested we talk about Stephen Colbert. I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't think about it. But yeah, one of the more interesting stories that hit the news lately was that cancellation. Rob, thanks so much. You have a good evening.
You're welcome.
Have
a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Ozzy Osbourne, but more about his music, his musical impact, and his concerts. And, of course, Ed Traviseri from Traviseri Productions. He's also a professor at Point Park University. He's actually teaching an online MBA class. He's wrapping it up right now, and that's why we're doing the interview with him at 7:40. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors, where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items, including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
Blooming into a sun-filled season, Our Lady's Accessory Shop is blossoming with something for everyone, including yourself. Strap, located at 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown. Our handbags are drenched in sun-kissed colors, fun fashion jewelry, and summer and beach-inspired styles. Our beauty bar is overflowing with Strap's signature lip gloss and Palladio brand makeup and products. And all new at Strap, our Starstruck candle collection is now in stock, and they are out of this world. We have the latest in Wrangler bags, sunflower print totes, and mini bags, the cutest summer footwear, including sandals and flip-flops, free gift wrapping, and pretty packaging. Gift certificates available. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown, 724-557-6184. You're sure to adore us, and you'll love our prices.
Hard work, respecting others, and being a good team member are the values that South Union Township Supervisor Jason Scott knows well. Whether he's running a machine, repairing storm drains, operating a plow truck, or working with his fellow supervisors on economic growth, Jason Scott is working every day to keep residents safe, maintain the strength of our local businesses, and enhance the quality of life in South Union Township for our families and our future. Paid for by the candidate.
Concerned about your heart health? At WVU Medicine, we believe your heart deserves world-class care, close to home and always within reach. Our non-invasive cardiology team uses advanced tests like stress tests and cardiac MRI to diagnose and monitor heart conditions without surgery. Call 877-WVU, the number 4HRT, or visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Attention, active and retired coal miners. Have you been screened for black lung? Here at the Black Lung Clinic at Centerville Clinics, we offer yearly screenings, diagnosis, education, and treatment options to help you live a fuller, healthier life. We provide care regardless of your ability to pay. Call Centerville Clinics today at 724-632-6801. Do it today.
Welcome back to the third hour of the afternoon drive show. It's the late edition, of course. No Pirate baseball tonight. They won this afternoon 6-1. Outscored the best team in the American League, the Detroit Tigers, 17-6. I think I have that number right. After getting swept by the worst team in the American League, the Chicago White Sox, who outscored the Pirates 27-7. That's Bill. I'm no expert. That's a sign of an up and down team. I think that's one way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, either that or the Tigers rolled into PNC going, "Well, we got this one in the bag."
Yeah, they did not. And last night's game, they had 7 doubles.
Yeah, 808.
There's no such thing. There's no stat that says mental error, but there were multiple mental errors in that game last night. The first baseman dropped a throw to first, which would have been the third out, and then he casually, with his back to home plate, sort of walked over to get the ball. In the meantime, our guy on third, O'Neal Cruz just ran home. Yeah. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. I think they set a record. There's stats for everything. They set a record, not for doubles in a game, but doubles in a home game at PNC Park.
Right.
whatever that means.
I believe it's one shy of the record for the number of doubles.
Was it that close? Okay. Yeah, that was...
Pirates have done in the history of them. When you think about the Pirates franchise, I mean, it's like 150 years old.
Oh, it goes... It's one of the originals. I mean, up there with...
Yeah, up there. Well, the Cincinnati Reds are the oldest.
Right.
And Boston.
Yankees. Yeah, they're all...
Yeah.
And Boston, of course, it's...
Yankees are relatively young. They weren't formed until in the 1900s.
Well, they're only 125 years old. They're practically kids. In the sport, and of course, Boston has gone. They were the Boston Braves, and they but the Pirates have always been the Pirates. I guess they were the Alleghenies, the Pittsburgh Alleghenies at one time.
Yes, they were, and the Braves, of course, became the Milwaukee Braves.
All right, Milwaukee. That's right.
And the Atlanta Braves, where they are now.
Exactly.
But the Red Sox have stayed there.
Yeah.
St. Louis Browns are now the Orioles. I'm sorry.
They were the Cincinnati Red Stockings.
Yes, they were.
When they first started.
And during the communist scare of the 50s, they called themselves officially the Red Legs.
Oh, did they really? That's interesting. I did not realize that.
Yeah.
The red.
You didn't want to be in red channels.
No, you didn't. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't want to be that during that era. I want to thank Rob Owen for joining us from the Tribune Review. Interesting stuff. Of course, his career has been long, and of course, he was back in the day when Bill and I were talking earlier how there used to be, say, 4 or 5 channels locally. Channel 2, 4, 11. They were the network affiliates: ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS Channel 13. And then there was also Channel 16 at one point, and then 22 and 53 were independent. They weren't affiliated with networks, but that was it. When you take a look at an old TV guide or TV listing in the paper, that's all you would see back in those days. And joining us right now on the Afternoon Drive Show, the late edition from Point Park University, the professor, we'll have to call him, Professor Ed Traviseri. You've been in this business for a while now, pushing 50 years of live entertainment experience.
Let's not go too long. I mean, I sound old enough now, but let's not go crazy with that age thing.
I suppose. I recently became eligible for Social Security at age 62, so that's...
Okay, I got you beat by a few years.
Yeah, not too many, though. And you and I have known each other for a number of years. And you continue your career at Point Park, and we appreciate. We called a little early there. That was my fault. You were still teaching your NBA class online.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I had a class, and I couldn't jump off, and I didn't. I don't know. It's okay now, though.
It was some years ago. Somebody was going to come on. And he said, I got a class at that time. I said, you want to do the interview during the class? Because it was a media class. And he said, sure. And so he put on a speakerphone, and we did the interview in front of the class.
And then he said, this is how you don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. I threw in all the bad aspects of interviewing somebody to give the class. What did Doug do wrong during this interview? It was a pop quiz.
Right
afterwards. Well, we wanted to talk to you about somebody who's had multiple careers, and we've been talking about it during our show today. Of course, Ozzy Osbourne. Legend's overused. I guess Ozzy would fall under the legend category. And it just as much from his reality show, but I wanted to talk to you more about his era of Black Sabbath. Started in the 60s, and he just had his final show. Sadly, I guess it's good news. He was able to have his final show before he passed away. Amazing, but this guy lived 9 lives 5 times over. I think. He led a rough life.
You're totally right. I mean, and it's so great to see all the tributes that he's getting, both on radio and network television, up and down all day today and yesterday, because he did deserve so much, and he doesn't look like the kind of guy that ever wanted it. I don't know him that well. My God, Rich and I did. I don't know, maybe he did a lot of Ozfests out at Star Lake, but we did dates way back at the Stanley, Civic Arena. We went to Johnstown. We went to Wheeling, probably Erie with him. So we did a lot of dates back, whether it be Black Sabbath or a lot of Ozzy Osbourne dates. And, as I said this before, we don't have as much interaction with the artist as sometimes people think. So it's not fair for me to sit here and say, what our conversations were about. But, we deal with all of his team members, and that's his stage manager and his tour manager and his accountant. And, he always had a very good team. Everything seemed to go well and smooth as long as everything was produced properly. We did good business. People in the Pittsburgh and the tri-state area loved his music. DVE was always into promoting the shows and things of that sort. So we did very well, and even in those secondary markets, and the shows were so extravagant. But the thing, I looked at it today and I thought, I heard Gene Simmons say this morning on CBS. Before Ozzy did what we call heavy metal, or whatever you want to call it these days, we don't know who he was looking at for any ideas, because there was no really anybody before doing it. I mean, Zeppelin did their thing in that, but it wasn't like Ozzy where he comes out with his shirt off and bites the head of a bat. It wasn't Alice Cooper kind of thing where he would try to freak people out. It was just like bizarre with running around and sometimes having those fangs in. But he had such a great band, and people got into that heavy metal sound. And then, of course, as Gene said this morning, there are literally hundreds, maybe thousands of bands that have gone on, and many are popular. Again, that it wouldn't be that way without someone like him. So when you put persons in that category, to me, that takes them up another level, because they created the sound that many bands know afterwards.
Yeah, you mentioned a moment ago that you and Rich worked with them. I know who you mean by Rich. Why don't you tell our audience?
I'm sorry, Rich Angler.
That's okay.
I didn't mean to.
Yeah, the Caesar.
Yeah, Rich Angler and I, of course, we had the Caesar Angler well, it wasn't just me. I mean, obviously it was not, I was in the underling. Pat DeCesar and Rich Angler formed the company in 1973 as the Pittsburgh Concert Promoters, and I was lucky enough in 75 to graduate from Robert Morris, and I always wanted to work for a company like them. I didn't know anybody. I was a drummer in a high school band, went to Robert Morris to become somebody in business, and I put a few shows on when I was at college, and I thought, you know what? I really want to do this someday, but I don't know how to ever get to anybody because I didn't have any connections. And I just remember, DeCesar Angler did every show that I ever went to in the late 60s and the 70s. So they were on every ticket that I ever had. And so as it turns out, I had seen an ad in the paper I graduated in 74 from college, and so I worked somewhere else in retail for about 6 months. But then I saw an ad in the Post-Gazette one day, or the press, I guess it was, and it said that DeCesar Angler was looking for a runner. And I didn't even know what a runner was, but I thought, whatever it is, I sure in the heck want to be it. So I remember I had just gotten married, and I came home and told my wife, this is unbelievable. She goes, who's DeCesar Angler? I go, what do you mean? They're the biggest promoters in Pittsburgh. They're on every one of our darn tickets. And I was lucky enough to get Rich Angler the next day on the phone, and I don't know if I should even go into this, if this is even, you're talking about Ozzy, but I'm in this other conversation.
That's fine. I'm good at going off topic, so feel free.
Okay. So Rich says to me, I fired a lot of kids in the last several months. And I said, wow, that's too bad. I said, well, why'd you do that? And he goes, you know what? Nobody really wants to work. He said, these kids think that they can hang out backstage with a band and all. I said, we don't do that. He said, big job. I go, no, I really appreciate that. I would think it would be, aren't we? He says, I had one of my girls the other day that I hired. She was trying to get an autograph with the band backstage. And I said, really? He says, yeah, I fired her on the spot. And I said, well, I'd fire her too. And he says, really? Why? I go, well, aren't we there to protect the band from that? And if our own staff is doing it, and it was a weird time. That was in the mid-'70s. So he tells me he says, I like what you're saying. Call me tomorrow. Next day I came back. I was so high to call him. And the first thing he said to me was, I think I changed my mind. I'm just not going to go with anybody. I'm going to stay with what I do. And I said, well, that's not possible, Rich. I said, I really want to. Well, the long and short of it is I told him I'd work for free, and he hired me the next day. And he says, you know what, if you work for free, I think I want this guy. So I quit my retail job literally the day that he called me, and he said, have you ever driven a Rolls Royce? I said, well, I came from Charleroi, Pennsylvania. I've never even seen a Rolls Royce in person. He said, well, you're going to drive the band America tomorrow from the airport and take them to the Syria Mosque.
Oh, that's
I
good.
said, I am. And that was my first day. I drove America. He paid me $50, so I got to give him credit. I drove America in the Rolls Royce, and then 2 days later he said, "Are you still available?" I said, "Well, yeah, I've quit my other job. I'm just sitting around the house." He goes, "You want to drive Jeff Beck?" I go, "My God, do I want to drive?" I was fans of all these people, right?
Jeff Beck. Yeah, that's
Jeff Beck, right? You know how good he was. And then a week later went by, and I was wondering if he was going to call me. I really wondered what was happening. And I got a call one day, and he goes, "Hey, you still available?" Once again, I said, "I'm not doing anything." He said, "You available to drive Jefferson airplane, Grace Slick?"
Great Slick. Oh,
yeah,
my.
I can pick him up. And after that third show of driving, that's when he told me to come in my office and I'll teach you how to do this business. And then 50 years later, we're still working together.
Well, you got to drive those bands around, but the girl got fired, probably went back to the hotel with the band guys she got the autograph from. So, you know, it all works out, I guess.
No, it all worked out. I didn't say anything. I told Rich when I drove America, I was the rudest driver you have because I didn't want them to tell Rich that I talked too much.
Right.
Or trying to get anything with him. So it all worked out. So we're in good shape. But getting back to Ozzy, it was a pleasure having the opportunity to be able to say we promoted those shows. And I have a lot of memories of being at the shows and like all of them, standing on the side and just watching greatness the way they put it out with Randy Rhoads and all those great guitar players they had.
Yeah, the great story of Ozzy biting the head off a bat, which apparently never actually happened, but he certainly played it up. And I once read the story. Apparently, Alice Cooper said, "Hey Oz, everybody thinks you did it, so go along with that. Play it up that you actually bit the head off a live rat or a live bat."
That's right. It was theatrics. For a lot of those guys, it was theatrics, and but it worked, and the crowd I think knew it too, so they were all having fun with it, and it all worked, but. It was, with his shows, unlike many of the other shows, especially in the early days, you just didn't know what was going to happen, and so when we would go to these shows and, they'd be up on stage and, he'd be running around or sitting in that big throne like he sat in. I mean, we don't know because we don't see the show every night. So you just wonder, like, what are they going to do next, and but the crowd was always so into it. And so as witnessed by, obviously his last show and the amount of people that came, and then the Oz Fest, which you got to remember, those were big. I mean, his wife Sharon put that together, or he put whatever, they put it together and way before festivals were coming back to play amphitheaters. Festivals were one thing to go to like a festival site and do one show and Lollapalooza and this and that and this, but to have something like the Oz Fest and come back yearly at amphitheaters, of which we were lucky at Star Lake to get him on, and then he would bring other bands along. That fueled the fire of making money and having good shows, and and he did them for many years. I can't tell you how many years it was, but I mean that it finally went away. But I mean it did open up the waves for a lot of other bands to think about, and we can do that too, so that's the way it went.
The crazier, the better. We're talking to Ed Traviseri from Portland Park University. Also has his own consulting firm, of course. Check out that website, traviseriproductions.com. And I'm looking through some of the pictures here. Maybe you didn't ask for autographs, but it's pretty cool to get your picture taken with Paul McCartney and Frank Zappa and Kansas. So you did okay too.
They're all in my basement now, and it is fun. But you know what? Exactly what you said. What happened was when we got to the Stanley in 1977, we bought it from the theater people. And our very first year, we did everything, rock, jazz, middle of the road, blues. And at the end of the year, we got a number one in the mail from Billboard magazine. And we didn't even know what it really was. It said, "You've been selected as the number one theater in the country for 4,000 seats and under," because we had 3,700 seats across the country. "And here's who you are in the top 10 with." We beat out, New York, San Francisco, LA. There was all these cities. And we were like, wow, that's pretty damn impressive. I said to Rich, we should give every band some kind of a number one or something that helped us get to that when they come back to play, like the bands that, help. And we couldn't come up with the one, so there was a place in our building down at the Stanley that sold plaques. And I went down and I said to them, what would a 9x12 plaque cost? And one thing led to another. So every show that, not only the shows that played to help us get to one, but we started thinking, let's do it for every band that sells out. So Bob Marley sold out, Bob Seger, so I don't care who it was. as long as you basically got close to a sellout, I would go down this end of the hall, which was a place, and I would say, I want to do another plaque. So it would be the Caesar Angler across the top always. Congratulates, let's say, put an artist name, Bob Marley, for selling out the Stanley. And we put how many tickets they sold, what the gross was, and what the date was. And then I would always say to the tour manager on the day of, I had some plaques made. We want to present it to the band. Is it okay if we make a presentation and take a picture to send to the trade magazines? And the tour managers would be usually very fine. Like, of course, the band would appreciate it,
right?
And we would get good exposure. So that's what started this whole thing where we took pictures backstage and would send some to the Billboard magazines and the other magazines of our choice, and people would see that we were in Pittsburgh. But what really became great was, fast forward 20, 30 years, and I kept pictures of all the bands, and Rich was doing his book and, and this and that. And I'd say, man, I got all these pictures we took with Stevie Ray Vaughan and, Rodney Dangerfield and Robin Williams, and most of them had passed. And so it was such a great thing that's where McCartney, we have all these pictures of people that we dealt with that were nice enough to let us take the pictures, and now we got something to look at, and the memory comes back when you look at the picture, Right.
Ed, we wish we had more time with you. We're coming up on a hard break, but these are great stories, both your career and who you've dealt with, and, of course, Ozzy Osbourne as well. We'd love to have you. It's been a while since we've had you on. We want to have you back soon.
You let me know when, okay?
All righty. Thanks, Ed. Have a good night.
Thanks, Scott.
All right. Thank you. Ed Traviseri talking about Ozzy Osbourne and other stuff, as we always do on the show. Stick around. We'll be right back.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 till 5 and Saturdays 8 till 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Rags a call today at 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
When it's sweltering outside, you'll be cool inside with central air conditioning from Bryant, the people that know cool. And it's easy to have a central air conditioning system installed in your home. Simply call on your Bryant dealer, Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, located near the Laurel Mall on Route 119, north of Uniontown. The phone number is 439-2323. Let Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning rescue you from the sticky, humid summer weather. Remember that number for Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, 439-2323.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323.
This is Attorney Joe Fishko with an important announcement. On June 1, I joined the Quattrini Law Group. We are keeping my Uniontown and Somerset offices. The new law firm will be answering my phone, and they'll be appearing on the radio show and handling most of my cases. I will remain with the firm, but I won't be handling most of my cases on a day-to-day basis. I chose to join the Quattrini Law Firm because their practice is very similar to mine. They are excellent attorneys, and they handle personal injury cases like auto, truck, and motorcycle and industrial accidents. They also handle workers' compensation, along with work-related hearing loss, Social Security disability, and veteran service-connected disability, employment discrimination, and unpaid overtime claims. So you see, everything except the veterans' claims were the things I did. Regina and I have loved representing our clients through the years, and we will miss them. But at this time in our lives, we need to move on and put our clients in who we truly feel will be the best.
Stop by and check out the 1908 restaurant and bar at the Uniontown Country Club. Tuesday night is wing night. Enjoy $1 wings and $2 drafts. You can also check out your favorite item from Chef Steven's new menu. The restaurant's open to the public Tuesday through Thursday, 4 to 9 p.m., Friday and Saturday from noon to 9, and Sunday the bar is open from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. with daily specials. If you want to join the Uniontown Country Club team, good news, they're hiring. You can apply 3 different ways. Call 724-550-4258 extension 4. Email Caitlin at uniontowncountryclub.com or stop by 25 Bailey Lane in Uniontown to pick up an application. The summer golf season is here, so why not stop in and get some rounds in and enjoy the nice weather while you're at it. Call 724-550-4258 for golf or restaurant information. It's all happening at the Uniontown Country Club. They hope to see you this summer. After all, you really can't spell Uniontown without you.
And that's a wrap for the Afternoon Drive Show, the extended version on a Wednesday. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Bill Madden over there at the controls. Thanks for listening, folks. I want to thank our guests for joining us today. I'll be back next Tuesday for the show as well. But first, CBS News next on your local station, WMBS Uniontown.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by ZipRecruiter.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. The Justice Department told President Trump he's named in the Epstein files. That, according to the Wall Street Journal. The White House denies the story. CBS's Aaron Navarro.
Being mentioned in these records is not a full-out sign of wrongdoing. The Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, the number 2 at the Department of Justice, told the Wall Street Journal that they made Trump aware of these findings and then again noted that there was nothing in the files that warranted further investigation.
Meantime, a House panel votes to subpoena the Justice Department for Epstein files. Columbia University agrees to pay more than $220 million in a deal with the Trump administration to restore federal funding. National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard backs up claims by President Trump that former President Obama orchestrated the intelligence report suggesting Russia was trying to help Trump get elected in 2016. Trump is accusing Obama of treason. CBS's Ed O'Keefe.
What they're not disputing, and what really nobody disputes generally, is that Russia tried to sow chaos, confusion, disunion during that election. But what they continue to strongly dispute is that Putin or his government or people working for the Russian government were trying to influence the results such that Trump would win.
The man who stabbed to death 4 students in a home near the University of Idaho is sentenced to life in prison without parole. Brian Koberger was sentenced as part of a plea deal to avoid the death penalty, which Kaylee Gonzalez's family did not want. Her brother saying,
"Despite the magnitude and brutality of the crime, the prosecution chose to accept a plea deal behind closed doors, without trial, without ever consulting our family in any meaningful way."
At a meeting of the UN Security Council, the focus turns to those reportedly starving in Gaza. Palestinian Representative Riyad Mansour.
Words are meaningless if they are not followed by action. We need you to act, and act now.
Israel's UN Ambassador Danny Danon defends the need to continue the war in Gaza.
While Israel dismantles terror networks and protects innocent lives, what does the UN do? It clings to its political agenda.
Texas lawmakers gather publicly for the first time to address the deadly flooding earlier this month. CBS's Jason Allen reports from Austin.
A lot of the focus today really was on what emergency managers did or didn't know, right? They didn't know. They said that the rain was going to fall as hard as it did and where it did. They didn't know as they were arriving on scene. They didn't know necessarily who was in charge. Not all of these groups were able to communicate with each other.
U.S. stocks rise to more records. This is CBS News.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
When you first saw her, she was out walking her dog. You didn't notice her at first. But when you finally did, it was too late. Because at that moment, you were speeding. She was out walking her dog and only had a second to let go of the leash. Your foot was on the gas, and her life was on the line. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Lowe's knows big savings make a big difference, especially when you're shopping for appliances. Hurry in to get up to 30% off select major appliances. Plus, My Lowe's Rewards members get free delivery, free haul away, free installation and parts on purchases of $2,500 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/30. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Price, delivery time, and vehicle availability may vary based on order size and location. Exclusions apply. See Lowes.com/delivery for more details.
Ozzy Osbourne's hometown is in mourning after the heavy metal superstar's death at 76. CBS